Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Taylosive EV live on YouTube. We are inside the Tesla. Sorry if you don't like being in here, but it's Tesla semi-delivery day. We've got the hat, we've got the car. I'm actually going to be reading the chat off of my Model 3 display. I've got you guys queued up in even a creator studio, which is dope. Like, I can see everything from here. That way that my display on the MacBook is clean so that we can all react to the semi-delivery event together. But I have to admit, it's kind of weird what's going on right now. They've been kind of selective with who they're letting in. So for one, Omar from Omar's catalog was originally sent an invite and then it was redacted, so he's not at the event. Same thing happened to the Kilowatts. He was sent an invite, or he was offered an invitation. He was a +1 from a friend of his the day before, so just yesterday, and he showed up to the event. He drove 300 miles to the Giga Nevada facility, and they denied him. They said he wasn't allowed in. The guy that he was with, he dropped off, but they specifically said he wasn't allowed in. So a lot of people are wondering why they're not letting, I guess certain people are calling influencers into this event, but there's definitely still some people allowed. So I'm following along on Twitter, like many people are. If you're not on Twitter, you're missing out on a lot of the new stuff coming out. But this guy, Tesla Evangelist, he's been getting lots of cool shots. So shout out to @Tesla Evangelist on Twitter. He highlighted there's the red seatbelt strap. Oh, and Mersey has been a member for 15 months. Thank you so much. He says the Pepsi Semi looks so cool. I'm personally more of the Cheetos guy. So this is the picture that we're using for the thumbnail today. They look amazing. It's been kind of boring seeing the same old white Tesla semis over and over again. But thank you to Tesla Evangelist for taking these shots, one for the Frito-Lay facility as well. I just love this orange-yellow combo shot, basically, of a semi-truck. I'm tweeting all about Pepsi, man. They're letting people on. They're like letting people inside the semi and take pictures and stuff. They're leaving the doors wide open. Someone grabbed a video of one. Watching a guy in a Tesla talk about Tesla while watching a Tesla reveal. Exactly. There's only going to be one Tesla semi-delivery event, as far as I'm aware. So we might as well hype it up now. Just look at that angle. Look at that. It's beautiful. I mean, I could do without the Frito-Lay symbols on the side, but I don't know. There's just nothing more American than... See, I've got the event queued up here so we can all watch it together. You will be able to see it and hear it, but because I have to react to it, process my reaction, and pump it up to YouTube server so you guys can see it, there will be a little bit of a delay. So if you don't want to hear my little side comments, or if you want the most up-to-date, like, low latency stream, probably watch it yourself. But it's on Tesla's YouTube channel. It's not hard to find. Just look up Tesla semi-delivery event. It will probably be the first result. So this specifically, I'm warning you now, this is a reaction stream. This is why you click on me, is because you want to react with me. If you don't want to hear what I have to say, or if you don't like little side comments, or you don't like a little bit of latency, then don't watch this live stream. This is not for you. The Tesla one is right here. Just as a reminder, I can post it in the chat. Oh, wait, no, I'm on a different... I forgot. The tab that I read the chat on. Anyway, you can just look it up. It's not hard to find. Cheeto Semi is the best semi. But look at this video someone got. Whose was this? Arash Malek got to record a video of himself walking up these little steps. The Tesla semi doors still open backwards, which is pretty cool. You can keep them wide open. He walks up, checks it out. You can see the cameras are on for the side cameras. What's interesting though is the cameras are on the inside of the two displays. Does that have something to do with the doors being open? I don't know. But I thought the cameras would be on the outside view. I don't know. Maybe that's easier to look at. But basically, I'm trying to keep up to date as much as I can as soon as someone posts something. I'm following everybody that is for sure there. So Arash is definitely there, and Tesla Evangelist is definitely there. Emmett Poppers as well is at the event. So there's definitely people here that are willing to make videos and post about it. So that's why I guess I'm mostly very concerned / confused as to why they are not letting the Kilowatts in, or Omar is allowed to show up. I don't know. Maybe it has something to do with Pepsi. Maybe Pepsi doesn't want people arriving that, I don't know, have said bad things about Pepsi in the past. I don't get it. I don't get it. There's nothing more American than a bunch of people getting excited for an all-American electric car company delivering a semi-truck to a company that's going to ship sugar water and Cheetos. Woo! Get pumped. They're going to be moving Cheetos with semi-trucks. I also think the range will be quite good. I don't think you can get 80,000 pounds worth of Cheetos in the back of a semi. Cheetos are too full of air. They're too puffy. So I bet if you fully loaded a semi-truck, this was a nice little note Tesla Evangelist brought up. The stage for the event is the semi-trailer bed. So they're going to be presenting the delivery event on the semi. How cool is that? Better for cameras to be inside is to not turn your head eyes away from the road too much. You're probably right. I'm just saying it's not what was on. I agree with you, but where's the picture here? Tesla semi folder. It's not how it was laid out in the concept work. See, this is how it was in their updated pictures. The other thing is the updated website pictures had the steering buttons, so there was no gear stalks on this one. It was just capacitive buttons, kind of like the Model S and X, except it's not a yoke. But then, if we go over to Twitter, you'll notice in here, let me open this up so we can see the red seat belt in all its glory. There's gear stalks. There's definitely gear stalks on the steering wheel. Like, why would there be gear stalks if they're going to be capacitive buttons anyway? Maybe they're backup. This is fun. It'll be hilarious when a presenter falls off. No, that would be bad. That someone might get hurt. Don't joke about that. I like the fog lights, though. This is the first Tesla event they've ever had at Giga Nevada, I believe. They've never done an event here before. Here's a nice close-up of the Frito-Lay. Oh, that's so cool looking. I dig it. Let's see. How much will these cost? So when they first unveiled them, I'm sure the price has gone up because when they first unveiled them, it was literally over 5 years ago. But when they first unveiled them, they said the standard range Tesla Semi would be, here's some of the back with the powertrain and everything, would be $150,000, which is incredibly cheap in my opinion for how many batteries they pack in these things. And the long range version that goes 500 miles, they said would be 180 grand. That is way too low in my opinion, especially considering what the diesel cost savings are of the Tesla Semi compared to a traditional, how much, if you just do some basic math on how much diesel costs and how much these things run all year, you can make a lot of your money back very, very quickly just by not having to pay for diesel. So I think they easily could sell them for north of 200,000, maybe even 300,000. Again, the cost savings speak for themselves. Tesla has not detailed what the updated Semi, the one that we're looking at right now, what Pepsi is paying for these. We don't know exactly. Maybe they'll explain that at the event, but it's no longer on the website, and it should be noted, it's a shame because someone said, now I want to buy one of these. LJ wants to buy one of these. Unfortunately, when they refreshed the website with the updated Tesla Semi images and specs, they got rid of the reserve page. So you cannot order a Tesla Semi anymore, which is definitely a bummer. Originally, if you wanted to reserve a Semi, you had to wire transfer $20,000. But what's crazy to me about the concept of Tesla originally saying the Semi was going to start at 150,000, long range 180,000, is that's honestly not much more than what people are paying for the Hummer EV. And the Hummer EV has like over 200 kilowatt hours of battery, which is huge, but the Semi can go 500 miles at max payload, which, keep in mind, not all semi-trucks are running at max payload all the time. Typically, you deliver the inventory, you deliver the product, and then you're a lot more empty on the way back. That's just the way it works. Or you're a Frito-Lay's semi-truck, and you're moving Cheetos in bags of potato chips, which are mostly filled with air. Let's not kid ourselves. There's like 5 potato chips in every one of those things. They're not running the semis at 80,000 pounds, but a lot of the time, these semi-trucks are moving things based on how much volumetric space you have. How much can you fit in the trailer volumetrically, like with the cubic feet of storage, not necessarily the payload. So how much potato chips and Cheetos and Pepsi drinks can you fit in this trailer is often the limitation. So we're estimating a 1 megawatt hour battery pack in these things, and it only costs the price of 2 Hummers. So for 2 Hummers, which together would equal under 500 kilowatt hours, you can get a megawatt hour. Like, that's insane, especially if a lot of us here are expecting the Cybertruck to be around $100,000. Or, yeah, like Mike said, pay $80,000 more to lose one motor, but gain 200 miles more range. Plus, you get a full steering wheel. The Cybertruck has a yoke, which, right, everyone hates. You get way more payload capacity. So much payload. You want to talk about have a 6-foot bed or a 6.5-foot bed? This puppy's got a freaking 30-foot bed. I'd like to see the Silverado compete with that. Tesla Semi has so much cargo space, you don't even need a midgate. Who needs a midgate anymore, right? How long is the average trailer? I don't know, 50 feet. Laughs in Oregon. Do you expect any surprises? If so, what's most likely to be a surprise? I don't expect any personally. I'll be very happy if there is a Roadster or a Cybertruck update, but I don't think that's what this is. And I personally don't think we need one. I think that the Tesla Semi, forgive me if you disagree, but I think that the Tesla Semi is exciting enough that it can have its own event. There doesn't need to be any surprises. It can just be a Tesla Semi event, and that's exciting enough to me. I just don't want to go into it assuming we're going to get Roadster and Cybertruck stuff, because we've done that for the past, 3 Tesla events. Like, what if this is the event where they have a one more thing and surprise us in the last 3 Tesla events, or 4? Basically, the only Tesla event that they ever had, like a surprise, last minute, one more thing moment, was the Tesla Semi unveil, I guess, which was over 5 years ago. So I guess a lot of people are assuming because the last Tesla Semi event had surprises, maybe this one will, but I'm not going into it expecting it because I think you're just going to be disappointed. I just want a thorough presentation explaining how many semis they're building, how big the battery pack is, how they make it work, how low the efficiency is, lots of nitty-gritty engineering details and design choices they made, how fast it is, why they went with 3 motors instead of 4, the jackknifing prevention, how many companies have ordered the Semi. I just want details. I just want specs and numbers and all the little nitty-gritty things. That's what I'm most excited for. It's just an event for the Semi because ultimately, if you guys been watching my channel for a while, Pepsi Man, you'll know that I primarily am most interested in efficiency. And I know it doesn't seem like it because the Tesla Semi is such a large vehicle, but honestly, the Tesla Semi, its true superpower is how efficient it is for the class it is, right? Obviously, the Tesla Semi is much bigger and moves a lot of stuff, and it has a giant battery pack, so it's not going to be, we're not talking about efficiency in the regards that my Model 3 or an Aptera is efficient, but as far as Class 8 semi-trucks go, this is the most energy efficient version to ever exist. Super aerodynamic, under 2 kilowatt hours per mile. That's how you're able to get 500 miles of range with a 1 megawatt hour battery pack, which Bill Gates said was impossible or not, that couldn't be done. We got more pictures here from Tesla Roddy. Let me open it up. First look. Ooh, wait, they have a Model X there? Why? And here's a Model X. But they also have a white basic Tesla Semi as well. But yeah, that's where the live stream is. But it's cool to see them all lined up next to each other like that. Where's the red one? Like, as far as efficiency is concerned, though, the Tesla Semi is the most efficient vehicle in its class. And that's what's going to enable it to break records and account for a large proportion of emissions being reduced because now we won't have as many giant diesel semi-trucks pumping out fumes all the time. When does it start? We're looking at 17 minutes to go until the event starts. Last time it was when Tesla showed the Cyberquad. Well, that's more of an accessory than last minute thing. I don't really count that just because it's not, legal on public roads and stuff. It's more of like comes out of the back. I guess some people would consider that a surprise. Jonathan Root says, just give me details on Cybertruck already. I think if you're going into this event expecting Cybertruck information, you're going to be disappointed. I'm trying to warn you now, because we've gone into several previous Tesla events expecting, maybe they have a one more thing. Maybe they have the surprise. They don't. Let's see. How dare you reduce the Cyberquad to an accessory? I mean, people get mad at me for talking about the Aptera because they think that's dangerous. Cyberquad doesn't even have airbags. Let's see. I realize that a lot of semi-deniers don't understand how EVs work. They laugh when they hear things like the brake pads last forever because they don't know about regenerative braking. Right. I mean, it's not like the brake pads last forever. It's just they last substantially longer than traditional brake pads. But yes, a lot of people, especially EV deniers, were convinced that there's no way an electric semi-truck could work. Um, which I think is part of the reason I'm so excited for this event, is because it literally spits in the face of so many people that don't believe EVs are the future. The Frito-Lay Tesla Semi can probably travel 700 miles, chips delivery. Exactly. I think you're right. I think you're onto something. Um, yes, thank you, Mike. Yeah, if you want to watch it yourself, it's on Tesla's YouTube channel. I believe they're also streaming it to Twitter, which I'm not sure if they've done in the past. Do you notice he's got a Model 3 too? Yes, PewDiePie got the same Model 3, or close to the same Model 3 I did. He's in Japan, which is where I think the next Gigafactory should go. I think Japan would make the most amount of sense because it's a very large car market. Teslas are very popular there, and you want to build factories and you want to build vehicles close to where a lot of your people are. And Japan is the fourth largest car market in the world. So in my opinion, it makes a lot of sense to build the next Gigafactory there. We've already got a huge factory in China. We've got several huge factories in America. We've got a big factory ramping in Europe. To me, the most logical step would be Japan. Cars are very dangerous. Many, many paralysis deaths at every year. Yeah, but you don't have to wear a helmet when you're riding it, unlike the Cyberquad. Don't know much about Class 8 vehicles. You don't need to. How many semi-delivery events even exist? Like, do they do delivery events for other semi-trucks? I don't know. I've talked to, actually, over the years, I've made many, many videos on Tesla semis, and I've talked to a lot of semi-truck drivers that have expressed a lot of their interest in the semi, and it explains why there's so many reservations for them. A lot of people want these things. Japanese Gigafactory might even be faster than Chinese Gigafactory. Well, we don't know. China usually moves through industrial production pretty quickly. Once you get the government on your side, they're like, okay, let's go. Let's move. Let's see if anybody else is tweeting last minute things. We saw that video. Nice, lots of close-ups. Bobby and I are waiting at the very front. Oh, see, there you go. Tesla is live on Twitter. I believe I'm still muted for now. It's just like little embers of light going across the headlights. But Twitter video compression always kind of sucked. Ooh, I think people got some drone shots. Oh, look at that. They got a Tesla semi towing a bulldozer. There's the Cheeto one. They've got the Pepsi trailer in the back. I just really would love to know why the kilowatts wasn't allowed in. It's about to start. Okay, we're starting in... Well, they're saying it's about to start. It's not 5 o'clock yet. Elon's probably on his way there right now. Let's see. I never said I was an expert, PRZ. Do you want to fill me in? What do I not know? Tell me, please. Or do you just want to hang out in the chat telling me how dumb I am? That's fine. You can. I don't care. But Class 8 EVs, but people need to stop. Fucking Elon's rocket. Bruh, I haven't mentioned Elon at all. I've just been hyping up the product. This is a Class 8 EV, and I'm excited for it. Let me be excited. Don't take away the hype. Invent an electric train, put it on a boring tunnel. Sure. Why not? If you're a doubter, make your own product. There's some people that love waking up in the morning and just tackling people's hype or happiness. And they're just like, my goal today is to upset as many people as possible. Where there's others who get pumped, and there's others that get excited and get ready for the future and follow things that they're excited about and interested in. I prefer the form. I prefer the latter. I prefer the people that are excited about the future. I don't just wake up and say, who am I going to upset today? Who am I going to tick off as much as possible? Can I hang out in the chat and tell you? Thank you, Smith. You don't need to lie. It's okay. It's called the subway. I know. Go for it. If Las Vegas wanted one, they could have bought one, but the Boring Company was a lot cheaper. Ooh, the stage is a trailer. Yes. Okay, Arash is up close. I don't love the shade of blue they chose for the semi, to be honest. The Pepsi one. These logos are getting big. But boy, wasn't it a great idea in advanced... This was like a future marketing budget for Pepsi and Frito-Lay. They were like, we can just get a bunch of free publicity if we order a bunch of Tesla semis and ensure we're the first ones to take delivery. Look at all the free press they're getting right now. It's amazing. Everyone's like hyped and sharing all these pictures, and you guys are watching live streams of guys reacting to an event about Pepsi taking delivery of a semi truck. If you would have told me that would be an exciting announcement 5 years ago, I wouldn't have believed you. But I'm excited. I'm pumped. Imagine a Mustang blue on that sucker. Ooh, yeah. Electric blue. If we're going to talk about the price per dollar for the semi truck, it should be range per mile. Yeah, that's good, little Sonata. I like that. Driving down a long, steep mountain grade in a Tesla semi is going to be an amazing experience as a previous truck driver. No more white knuckles. Oh, yeah, that's true. Do we have any semi-truck drivers in the chat? Please fill in. Are you interested at all in the Tesla semi? If you're watching this live stream, I assume you are. Oh, it looks like the YouTube stream is now live. Let's see if they're playing music. They are. I'm going to keep it quiet to avoid copyright claims. And we shall wait. It should let me go to theater mode. There we go. That should fill it up. We're good. I think I can move this down a little bit. So, oh no, up. I know what I need to do. I need to grab this thing. Move it like that. Okay. That's pretty close to full screen. Okay. No, it's been live. We're good. Let's see. Not even Tesla could get me to prefer Pepsi over Coke. I don't really care who's buying them. I'm not drinking really either of those things. It was a very smart move for Frito-Lay's Pepsi's part. Not only are they going to save a bunch of money on diesel by driving around electric semis, but they're getting a bunch of free press from Tesla. Not a truck driver, but I want to drive one. Trevor Scott says, I've driven semis in the past. This will help so many people. The convey mode is what I'm most curious about. That's true. Like, I forgot all about that. I don't know legally how ready that is, but I feel like the usefulness of it is exponentially higher than... because you have a semi-truck driver that's kind of overseeing everything. So if something goes wrong with one of the semis, there's at least still a person that can take over. So it's not like level 5 autonomy exactly. It's kind of level 4 for the other semi-trucks, but as long as you got one in the front overseeing everything, then I feel like the capability of the self-driving stuff would be a lot better. Do you think the semi does a light show like the sexy light? That would be beautiful. I don't see why not. What could they move? Of course, the lights could flash. You could have the trailer lights flashing as well. I'm pretty sure this is the only semi-truck delivery event I'm going to watch in my entire life. So that's why I'm excited. These kinds of things don't happen very regularly. Rum and Pepsi doesn't have the right ring to it. 2017, Elon said convoy mode was already possible. Well, I'm sure Elon said it was possible. That doesn't mean it's actually possible. Elon also said that you could summon a vehicle across the entire country by 2018, and it's been 4 years and you still can't do that. Is there a chance they preview Project Highland? I'm going to say 0% chance of that. Sorry. Project Highland is a rumor reported on by Reuters that the Model 3 would be refreshed primarily in China by the third quarter of next year. So there's basically no chance that's going to happen. I'm just pumped for the semi itself. Jacob says, I live in 10 miles and 40 miles of 2 Pepsi plants, so ready to see Tesla semis driving down the highway. Nice! I'm jealous of you, Jacob. I've still yet to see one. I've seen a lot of F-150 Lightnings lately, but I'm actually not terribly far from Giga Nevada. I mean, it's hours away, obviously, but I could drive there in a day and back. And I also have family that's not too far away from the Frito-Lay facility where they install the mega chargers. That's another thing, mega chargers. I want them to talk about the charging speed, the charging curve, the charging port they chose for the semi. So many little details like that I'm interested in. Like, I would love to see a charge test with this thing. Let's see. You don't want to watch the Nikola 1 delivery? Well, what have they been delivering? Did they have an event for the Nikola tray? I know they've delivered those. Highland was known over 6 months ago. Reuters report isn't new, though. Again, I don't think it's still a Reuters report. That doesn't mean it's happening at this event. You really love your Tesla. You're even streaming from there. Can't blame you, though. I'm reading your guys' messages right now on my Tesla. Can you tell me any other electric vehicle brand that would let me do that with the onboard display? Would VW let me read the YouTube chat? Would Lucid let me read the YouTube chat? Would Rivian? Does Rivian have a theater mode? Honestly, it's kind of disappointing if they don't. Does Tesla Semi get theater mode? Can I have YouTube on one screen, Disney Plus on the other? Actually, I'd want like Discord or Twitter on one screen. Oh my God. I think this is my dream vehicle. If you could do vehicle to grid with the Tesla Semi, how long could you power? I was actually just looking at my electric bill because it was our first billing statement that had the off-peak, mid-peak, and high-peak hours of electricity consumption. And in our last billing cycle, so over the course of 30 days, charging my EV and everything, we used like 700 kilowatt hours of energy. And I'm like, that's not even one Tesla Semi battery. How long you could power a house, including a house with an EV, for like a month or maybe 2 months, depending on how much. That would be incredible. Imagine now that Pepsi trucker are going to be rock stars like the pilot. Yeah, they're gonna have fun with it. Hopefully they like it. I'm sure some semi-truck drivers probably don't want to drive it. Some are going to be against it, but I would love to get their perspective. You know, I recently was watching some great videos that Amazon delivery van drivers were making about the Rivian delivery van and all the upgrades and changes they made and things they like and don't like about the Rivian van. I would love to see those kinds of videos about the Tesla Semi. It's just an amazing amount of insight that you get when it's someone's profession to use a vehicle certain day. But I will admit, for the most part, everybody who's driven the Rivian van really likes it. There's some little tweaks they want with the door handles and stuff, but for the most part, it's very intuitive, and they're quite a big fan of it. Charging my Tesla Semi from home. That's a good question. If you plugged in the Tesla Semi to a 110 outlet, how long would it take to charge from 0 to 100%? Like a month? That's true. Why even have a house? Just convert your Semi into a house. You could have a trailer with your house on the back, and the trailer's completely covered in solar cells. Who needs an Aptera? Just buy a Tesla Semi. Will the Tesla Semi have emissions mode? Dude, I had this idea. Every sound that the Tesla makes, Semi makes, whether it's fart mode, whether it's the autopilot chime, whether it's the seatbelt notification like you're not buckled in, every sound effect, every chime should be like a little bit deeper, like a lower pitch. So when you turn on autopilot, it's not boom, boom. It's like boom, boom. Like everything should be a little slow down. And the pitch, when you don't buckle your seatbelt, it's like boom, 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 boom. And then for fart mode, everything could be super deep. It plays it like extra slow motion. I think that's how the sound effect, the horn as well. Can they please show us or play the Tesla Semi horn sound for us? I would love to hear it. Bong bong instead of bum bum. Yeah, pretty much. Airless tires for the Semi. Oof. Man, we can't even get airless tires on a regular Tesla. Let's start with that. Let's see. My brother drove 1,000,000 miles for CSRT and night. He would have loved this. Oh, cool. That's impressive. The screens must be awesome. I agree. Does the Tesla Semi have fart mode? Why not? They gave it the mobile app. You can literally connect a semi truck to your phone and preheat the cabin, honk the horn, maybe unlatch the door. They bake in all this stuff. Why not? Why not give it fart mode? It doesn't hurt anything. Foghorn farts. Oh my God. The new Transformers would use the Tesla Semi. That's actually a great idea. If you want Drew to get interested in Transformers, that's how you do it. Let's see. What do you think about the silver wheels compared to the original black wheels? I haven't been paying attention to the wheel. I guess they're okay. Whatever's aerodynamic, I'm in favor of. I guess the silver... Let me find a good picture. Oh, I see. Yeah, I mean, I do kind of like the originals. I have a picture in here in the old Semi files. So this is the old rims. They're kind of basic looking. I don't know how much better those are aerodynamically than these. There might be a little bit of a difference, but the lug nuts are more easier accessible. So, let's see. Sandy Monroe has been dropping some serious Nikola Semi praise the last couple weeks. Does he know something that we don't, or maybe Tesla stopped contributing in some way? No, I mean, Nikola honestly had quite the turnaround. Oh, they got some serious B-roll being captured. Interesting. Okay, it should start very soon. But But yeah, other than Trevor Milton, who was convicted and kicked out of the company, is no longer at Nikola, they have actually been building semi trucks and delivering them, but they're not at the same class as Teslas at all. They're like way less energy efficient. I think they use like 500 kilowatt hour battery packs. I don't think they have any plans to install like mega chargers the way Tesla does. And I think they all have a range of like 300 miles. So the Tesla Semi has way more range, way better efficiency, and much faster charging. So it's kind of like how the Nissan Leaf launched before the Model S. It's like, did that make the Nissan Leaf a better EV? No, not really. I mean, it's a decent EV for the time, but the Model S was the one that caught everyone's attention. Um, it's live for me too. It's just the event hasn't officially begun yet. Um, Being a truck driver, I don't think having the driver directly in the middle of the vehicle would be a very good idea. It makes backing up in really tight areas very dangerous. I'm sure they've considered that. I don't think they didn't talk to anyone, but I think their solution is having more cameras, and moving the driver forward in that centered position likely helped a lot with aerodynamics and efficiency. Um, oh, hey, Mike, how's it going? But I bet they figured out how to position the cameras in an optimum way, and they tried their best to improve the visibility. And it's Tesla. It's a very connected vehicle. It's likely going to have. I mean, look at these giant mirrors on the side. They're gonna do their best to make visibility easy. Plus, it'll be much easier to hear if someone's calling out to you when you're backing up, because you're not going to have a big lousy diesel engine. Okay, it's 5:01 and they haven't started. They're officially late. Nicola's the bolt of the semi world. Basically, I could play the music, but I would likely get copyright claimed. Would be good to compare number specs for the Nikola Tre and the Tesla Semi. From what I've seen and what we know about both, I'm fairly convinced that, I mean, I can tell just by looking at the Nikola Tre that it is not very aerodynamic at all. It also shares a lot in common with the Volvo electric trucks, which are not very high speed. They're not very high range. They don't charge very quickly. So it's not a exact comparison. Let's see. Hopefully the specs meet their claims. Yeah, I think they will. I hope so. Is that white seats on the picture? Where? Like, my car has white seats, but oh, you're saying the light highlighting the semi seat? Yeah, it does kind of look white, doesn't it? I don't think it is. All the pictures, the IRL pictures, don't have white seats. Seems like everyone's getting real quiet now because it's supposed to start any minute. This probably means that Elon is late once again, because I think he was coming from Twitter HQ. This is the first time he's stopped at Tesla's place, and this is his first time he showed up to Tesla in weeks, probably. Hey, Cole, good to hear from you. What do you think the top speed of the Tesla Semi will be? Ooh, dang. I don't know. Probably not terribly high, right? If it's going to be a vehicle carrying that much weight behind it. I would say in maybe some emergency situations, you might want to go 80. I can't imagine. I would have to ask some of the semi-truck drivers in the chat, but is there a reason a semi-truck needs to go much more than 80 miles an hour? Maybe that's too fast. I don't know. Not Volvo. That would be Iveco. I watched a video by CarWow reviewing an electric Volvo semi-truck, and it looked very similar to the Nikola Tre. Patiently waiting. Press the like button. Oh, yeah, I gotta like it. Whoa, there we go. Needs a VTOL for these events now. Needs to land on the roof when going from his 6 other jobs. I know. Maybe he needs a boring company and a Hyperloop to send him between all his companies fast enough. Samuel L. Siskin says 90 miles per hour. Yeah, I don't see why a semi would need to go much faster than that. Go to fix some Wi-Fi issues and be back in 2 hours right before Elon gets here. Maybe they're waiting for him to connect via Starlink. I have a feeling people might get this as a leisure. There's at least a couple people I'm aware of that are not companies, but I've seen them on Twitter and on YouTube that have ordered Tesla semis to use as leisure. Is that the description for it? I guess no, he's supposed to be at the event, or at least he said he would, unless plans changed. I wouldn't be surprised if they add software ability for a speed lock for fleets. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me at all. Even if the company who owns them doesn't want to do it, I wouldn't be surprised if Tesla themselves just baked in a top speed. It's like if you're towing that much weight, you're just asking to destroy your brakes. You're going to really, really be pushing your brakes really hard if anything happens and you're driving a 80,000 pound vehicle at 90 miles per hour. Okay, so Elon just tweeted 5 more minutes, so I guess he's running a little bit late. His jet left Oakland a while ago, so yeah, he'll be there. I was trying not to bring that up. I did see the tweet, but I guess it's out there. Yeah, Zach and Jesse got one. I was remembering that. You can do semi-trucking for yourself. That's true. As long as you have I think you need a Class A license. Uh, oh, and Antoine Dussault says, I'm a truck driver and the tires for the semi are rated for 75 miles per hour maximum. That's a good number. I can't imagine why a semi would need to go much faster than that. Maybe passing another semi. That seems to happen a lot. See, this is why I'm so excited for the Tesla semis. I generally hate most semi-trucks. This is like the only semi-truck I don't hate because it's electric and it's smart and it's got cameras, it's got autopilot, and basically they made it as safe as possible and it's as efficient as possible. I would love to see a miles per gallon equivalent of the Tesla semi. Elon is almost always late. I think AI Day started on time this year. That kind of surprised me. Cole Crawford says, any Aptera updates? Well, since you brought it up, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to say it. Guys, I'm just responding to the chat. All right? Aptera actually just tweeted a teaser. They said, this isn't Gamma anymore, is it? I'm sorry, Gamma. I keep mispronouncing it. And this is teasing their Delta reveal. So, of course, they're adopting the NACS connector, the superior connector. But they're showcasing in this little teaser here that the solar cells go all the way to the back of the vehicle, which we've been speculating on for a while, that they would redesign the Aptera hatch. Let me find a good picture. Hold on a second. Let me make sure I'm not pulling up anything private. Yeah, I think we're good. Okay. Down here, let me find a good picture of it. It's a Delta design tweak that's been rumored for a while, and I think their latest tweet basically confirmed it. Vehicle. Where's the picture of it? See here, the solar hatch used to, on the earlier prototypes, round off and curve at the bottom. The Delta prototype, the glass and the solar cells is rumored to go all the way to the edge to make it room for more cargo space and make it easier to load things in, and also give you more room for solar cells. I think that's the main motivation, is better efficiency. So yeah, that's the closest thing to an update I have for you on the Aptera. Let's see. Some regions restrict speed. In Ontario, Canada, trucks are limited to 65-ish miles. Yeah, I kind of get that. It makes sense. Let's see. Anyone here remember the two semis from the TV show The Highwayman? We need a new version. With Elon, like riding two Tesla semis and then they spread apart. Something like that. Hopefully it's less of a wait than last night's event with Neuralink. Yeah, I didn't even watch that one. Aptera needs to be careful that it's not too delicate. Ask Sandy Monroe about how delicate carbon fiber composite is for the entire exterior. It's incredibly durable. Semi-trucks are actually allowed to do 80 miles per hour on the interstates in South Dakota. That is definitely no. Well, they said Canada, so that's not the same thing. You realize if you buy an Aptera, you will need to keep the car super clean for the solar cells to do anything, right? Sure, why not? You can most people keep their regular EVs clean, but for no reason. With the Aptera, you literally are paying yourself money to keep it clean. It's not like, oh no, I have to wipe down the solar cells. You probably don't have to wipe it off that much. Houses get a lot of pollen and dirt and dust on top of them too, but you don't usually have to clean the solar panels like once a day. Same thing with the Aptera. In fact, if anything, the Aptera should be easier to clean because it's driving, so it's going to be hitting high wind speeds regularly, unlike a house which only gets high wind speeds during a storm. Let's see. What did Tesla do with the original two prototypes? They're at the Peterson Automotive Museum. I don't know where the shorter one is, but I definitely know the big silver one is at the Peterson Museum right now. Thank you for the super chat, Top Dog. That's very kind of you. Most people keep their gas cars clean. Yeah, and for no reason, just because they want it to look nice. Aptera, you'll literally be paying yourself to keep it clean. Let's see. We are very strict with our semis in Canada. Yeah, that's fair. They're dangerous. They're very, very dangerous. They kill people, and there's a lot of weight behind them. So that's why I'm interested in the Tesla semis, because it should be one of the safest, if not the safest, semi on the road. I have a theory that today's the day we see the $25,000 model. What is it with people going into Tesla events expecting to see things that aren't described in the title? Tesla has done that like once, and they've never done it again. So I don't think you should go into it expecting to get announcements of things that they didn't. You're just going to be disappointed. That's all that's going to happen. Do you expect a Cybertruck reveal? Literally, right as I say that. So, do you expect a Cybertruck reveal? No, of course not. This is a semi event. It's going to be about the semi. Shorter semis for smaller markets. I don't even think it's that. I think it's just for certain payloads. If you're hauling a trailer, let me have an example up here. Where's a good picture? So if you're hauling a trailer like this, the taller semi makes sense because that helps with your aerodynamics to get the wind to move right over the cab, right over the semi. But if you're moving smaller payloads, like for instance, if you were delivering Tesla vehicles to a delivery center, or I think they had some pictures earlier. Where were they? I think I liked one of the tweets. If you're moving like bricks of cement, that kind of cargo. Oh, let me check the likes. I know I saw a picture of it today. Yeah, like look at this. See, they're using the tall one right here. I don't know why, but if you were hauling this kind of payload, then the shorter semi would reduce your frontal surface area, and that would improve your efficiency. So if you're moving oddly shaped payloads, I think the shorter semi makes more sense. But so far, none of the semis, tall or short, that we've seen, none of them have sleeper cabs. Because I guess most people are assuming that the payloads and the kind of people driving the Tesla semi aren't going to be sleeping in them very much because they're going to need to charge at the factory or at the distribution lot anyway. They're not going to be doing like 2,000-mile routes, at least right now. Once they expand the mega charger network, they probably will. Oh, thanks for the super chat, Jeff. I think we're starting. And Greg Swanson, can we do a Smokey and the Bandit reboot with Semi and the Roadster? We better. Oh, there's noise. Starting. A 5-figure Cybertruck is definitely not possible. Whoa! Oh my god, these visuals are beautiful. I'm just keeping the volume low because it's just music and I don't want to get copyright claimed, so. Ooh! Is Elon driving? That would be hilarious. Sorry, Elon just got here. He was charging. A truckload of Teslas is considered a small load. Well, it's not tall. It's not like filled with trailers. It's a heavy load, but I mean, it's not like shaped like a traditional trailer. Okay, this is definitely live footage. Okay, they've got their cameras going. They're pulling in. Oh, come on. They should have put a trailer on the back. Who's driving it? No, it is Elon. It is. Yeah. Oh, my God. He slammed the brakes fast. My goodness. I feel like he... Don't crash into the cameraman, Elon. We didn't put the ultrasonic sensors on this one, so there's no park assist. Companies ain't buying a separate semi for efficiencies or whatever payload they're carrying. You might be surprised. There's a big line of people wanting to buy this thing. Oh, they've got specific semi delivery event merch. Wonder if we'll be able to buy that later. Look, all these people with the privilege of being invited to the delivery event, and they're all focused on trying to get portrait mode videos on their phones. Okay, here we go. Nevada.
All right, welcome to Sparks, Nevada, site of the Tesla Gigafactory and our Tesla semi-truck factory as well.
Semi-merch.
Yeah, I can't believe it's been 5 years.
Yeah, really.
So we unveiled the Tesla Semi 5 years ago. It's been a lot that's happened since then, to say the least. So we're incredibly excited tonight to actually deliver our first production Tesla semi-trucks.
Yay! Wonderful.
So, and it's right next door to the Giga Nevada, our Gigafactory here, which produces the most number of battery cells in North America. It produces our drive units and battery packs. And
they're on the trail.
So I'd just like to just start off by giving a big hand to the Tesla Gigafactory team and the Tesla semi-truck team. It's like...
Yeah, I wasn't married when they unveiled the Semi. My life has changed a lot.
I think you've had a chance to tour the production line.
What?
So,
I want to see the production line.
Yeah, we're looking forward to actually delivering our first production trucks to PepsiCo. So this is going to be fantastic. Yeah.
Okay, you said that. Give me the deets.
Yeah, and also a huge thank you to all of our other customers. I mean, a lot's happened in the last 5 years, and our customers have been super loyal and supportive and stuck with us and been a huge part of our development, and we're excited to show everything that we've been doing off to everybody tonight.
Someone dropped a beer bottle.
Let's get started.
He's never seen this PowerPoint before.
Yeah, sorry for the delay. It's been like sheer amount of drama between this last 5 years ago and now is insane.
Wow, he looks
a lot has happened
younger
in the world, but here we are. It's real. So
that's on their end. It's not frozen on my end. Their stream is frozen. Okay.
Yeah, we threw a great party a few years back, and
live stream is 4K.
A similar thing here tonight, and Tesla's been growing like crazy. I mean, everybody here has been contributing towards the growth and unveiling awesome products and really scaling us to the point that now we can actually work on Semi, and we're really excited to do that. But we've been working a little bit on the background, close to the chest, right level of priority, but made a lot of progress, incorporated a lot of things that we're going to talk about. And at the end of the day, we have not wavered from our mission to build the most compelling, greatest Class 8 truck in history. So we're going to keep putting our foot forward to do that, and yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Now he's like, what's the next slide going to be? Let's find out.
So people might wonder why build a semi-truck? Because if you look at the actual unit volume, it's small compared to passenger vehicles. So for passenger vehicles, there's on the order of almost 100 million that are sold every year, and whereas semi-trucks, it's like for 400,000 or 500,000.
Not even, it's a couple 100,000 Class 8 trucks a year.
Globally.
Yeah. Or no, sorry, that's US. Yeah.
So there's
they're figuring this out as they go.
In the US, there's called like 15 million passenger vehicles and a couple 100,000 semi-trucks. So it seems like a small percentage, but it's actually 20% of US vehicle emissions, because you've got a huge vehicle and it's being driven all the time. So when you factor in the number of hours driven and the weight that it's carrying, it's actually, although it's only 1% of vehicle production, it's 20% of vehicle emissions. And it's over a third of all the particulate emissions. So from a sort of health standpoint, particularly in like cities, this is a huge impact.
I didn't realize that.
So
30%.
That's why we're doing it, So, yeah.
Yeah,
and it's awesome.
This is really core to our mission, and to Elon's point, there's a lot of heavy trucks that are deployed in dense urban areas, and so the communities that are around freeways, a lot of where these trucks are domiciled, are going to really benefit, particularly from the particulate emissions reductions, and then just trying to reduce emissions globally. Every truck that we put on the road that replaces a diesel truck is a huge amount of leverage, and so that is why we're doing this, and makes a huge difference towards driving us towards our total mission of sustainable energy and transportation.
Yeah, I think maybe a lot of people don't realize it's actually quite unhealthy to be living next to a highway with diesel trucks. FYI.
Yikes.
So being able to make them electric is just going to be just in addition to sort of climate change and global warming matters. It's also quiet, and it's going to improve the quality of your air, and it will actually just fundamentally improve the health of people living near freeways, which is obviously a super big deal. So,
yeah, if anybody's been woken up at a noisy truck delivering in the morning, the quiet will definitely be very welcome. I know I will appreciate that.
Yeah.
Except when they back up, they have to make a noise anyway.
So we're aiming to cover all major forms of transport, just consistent with the Tesla mission.
I love that pickup
picture.
Asked,
like, well, shouldn't Tesla just produce like, fast cars or premium cars or whatever?
That's a beautiful Cybertruck image.
But what's our actual mission? Our actual mission is to accelerate the advent of sustainable energy. So That's why we're making this wide range of cars that don't really make sense from a brand standpoint, I guess, traditionally, but they make total sense when you consider what's the mission of the company. The mission of the company is to accelerate sustainable energy, and so it's super consistent with that goal.
See, there's no Model 2.
Really a crucial piece of the puzzle.
There's just a robo-taxi.
Yeah, and I mean, Elon, you first laid this out in Master Plan Part 2, and now we're here to actually make it happen, and everything from the mission side, along with reducing the cost of cargo transport, and also make it fun. I mean, we want to make the truck an awesome driving experience. Make it kick ass for the drivers.
The stream's not behind. I just have to react to it.
Sick. I mean, look at that thing.
It does look amazing. What a beautiful semi truck.
You want to drive that. I mean, that thing looks like it came from the future. It drives like it's like driving a Tesla, literally.
The Tesla is like a
it's
Tesla.
Fun. It looks awesome, and there's actually a big shortage of drivers. And so, if you're a truck driver and you want the most badass rig on the road, this is it.
Yeah. So. Maybe this will increase the number of truck driver applications.
So.
That'd be kind of funny if it did.
Yeah, that's it. It's a beast.
It's.
At Tesla, we don't make slow cars. We don't make this thing.
Including the
has
semi.
Crazy power relative to a diesel truck. Actually, especially if you're not towing anything, you could zip around like it looks crazy. Basically, it looks like an elephant moving like a cheetah. It doesn't look right, frankly. But it's.
I'm just visualizing an elephant
sluggish in the least.
Moving like a cheetah.
It's fast. It's fast to accelerate. It's fast to brake. It's really a step change improvement in what it's like to drive a semi truck. When we've got three times the power.
3 times the power than any diesel truck on the road right now. So you got all the work, all the power you need to get the job done. But the other reason that it's a beast is because it's also efficient. And you can go 500 miles on a single charge on one of these things. So it's the mix of those two that this is why this is a game changer. And what's awesome is both of those are enabled by our new 1,000-volt powertrain, which is the first vehicle that we're doing with that. And don't worry, there'll be some more vehicles coming with that. But
1,000 volts,
be,
more vehicles
a game
coming.
changer because of all the awesome innovations that have happened, behind the scenes and under the hood, so to speak.
Cybertruck 1,000 volts.
Cool.
1,000 volt powertrain.
So we're obviously leveraging a ton of stuff that we've already
Whoa.
done. So we've got, it's now probably 51 billion miles driven. I don't know, there's more every day.
Heat pump systems.
So we're using our existing drive units, power electronics.
That's so cool.
Infotainment, our super efficient heat pump, HVAC system.
Was he supposed to say that?
State-of-the-art inverters. So we're able to leverage.
That almost felt like a slip up.
Existing powertrain and elements that are already made at volume in order to achieve extreme efficiency of
That's so
cost
cool.
and capability.
And it also means we get to leverage all the reliability that the active car fleet is doing. So we're accumulating all these miles, getting a ton of demonstrated learnings into the field, and we're going to go and put all these trucks into the world and get a lot of learnings as well. But we're coming off of a great launching pad with everything that's done in the rest of our products already. And it's also enabled because Tesla's got this full vertical integration on the software and the hardware side. So the teams that are working together to put all that together into one package, this is a huge win, for all of our products, but particularly semi.
All of our plaid vehicles help us build the semi truck.
Lots of hardcore testing.
Whoa!
So, one of the things about
Show the video.
A commercial truck is that the reliability has to be extremely high.
We drove it in the ocean.
It's got to be running continuously, can't break down.
Whoa!
It's got to handle every kind of weather.
Oh my God!
Uptime is super important for any kind of semi truck.
Ooh.
So we've tested durability in every kind of weather, every kind of environment. You could, yeah.
So even just, we've driven
Whoa.
Donner, we'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment, but
please post
we've
all
been
these.
through hot, cold, snow, rain. We've been putting this thing through all its paces in the lab as well as in the real
semi
world.
an entire
the simulation
swing.
team has been doing an incredible job of being
That's
able
awesome.
to scale all of that, in the virtual side. And the other thing is that we're going to take these and we're going to put our money where our mouth is. And we're going to put these on into our own fleet,
Yes!
into our own supply chain.
Good!
And we're going to use this to transport goods between our factories and our suppliers.
Perfect!
Because we believe in it, not just from a mission perspective and a cost perspective, but because we want to close that feedback loop. We got to get that learning as fast as we can. We want it straight from the drivers. We want it straight from the service techs that are working on it. We're going to take all that data that's coming in and continue to refine the product and make it better, just like we do on the car side.
Yeah,
wonderful.
Exactly. So to be clear, like these semi-trucks are running 24/7 between Sparks, technically in Sparks, not Reno, but most people think of it as Reno Sparks, and Tahoe, and
whatever.
Yeah, this is technically called the Tahoe Reno Industrial Complex, or TRIC.
The trick?
There's an interesting backstory about why it's called that.
Not important.
Yeah. So, anyway, Tesla using the trucks continuously day and night between here and Fremont and back again is going to be a great test of the vehicle and will give us a great feedback loop for continuing to improve the product.
I want more footage of the Tesla Semi swinging.
So my click is sort of not working.
Here we go.
All right. So we've got a tri-motor powertrain system. So we're using the carbon overwrap sleeve. So essentially, we're using the plaid Model S, Model X powertrain.
Oh, that's so cool.
We're actually enabling the two of the drive units to actually disconnect so that they're not free spinning.
They're not permanent
the efficiency
magnet.
is actually much greater in cruise.
Yeah, this is really unique. I mean, we're going with a tri-motor system. One of them is constantly engaged, so that's for maximum efficiency. You're getting on the highway, that's doing the bulk of the work, and it's operating at the peak efficiency point of the entire drivetrain.
Okay.
And then the other two units are for torque and acceleration. So when the driver needs it to get their job done, whether that's getting out of a loading dock or it's on the road, they need to pass somebody, you're tackling a grade, you have the torque and power to do it. And the cool thing is that these are clutched automatically, so no driver input needed, but it's also seamless. So the highway efficiency unit is cruising along doing its thing, and if the driver puts their foot to the floor, the torque unit spin up, clutch engages, and takes over, and it does all of that before we've maxed out the torque on the efficiency unit, so it's completely smooth. There's no turbo lag or jerkiness or anything like that. No driver input needed. It's smooth, both in terms of acceleration and deceleration for regen.
That's awesome.
It's really cool happening all behind the scenes.
Yeah, I mean, what I find actually really wild about this is that you can have a truck which is 82,000 pounds. And by the way, the reason we can actually do 82,000 pounds is that there's a 2,000 pound extra that's allowed by law for electric trucks. So you get a little bit of a advantage on the weight side. But you can basically pull 82,000 pounds at cruise using and the only thing that's doing that is a tiny little motor on one axle.
Oh, that big, well, football size maybe.
Yeah, you can carry it.
That is crazy.
Yeah. Like, it's like a,
I mean, you can check it in your luggage. Good luck doing that with a diesel engine. And one of those is more powerful than a diesel. Yeah.
Yeah, just that.
I want to
that
check
one little
my
guy
diesel engine.
is more powerful than a regular diesel engine on a semi truck.
That's amazing.
But it's just, I find it like amazing that this enormous thing can be pulled by something that you could carry in your hands. It's like, wow, that's power density.
Yep.
Yeah, really. One motor is powering the whole thing at speed. Whoa, more footage.
So yeah, and then in terms of, we're putting this to use in the real world.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Donner Pass.
So that truck's clocking in at 82. That's weighing 82,000 pounds. And when you see that pass shot again, you'll notice that speedometer is climbing. We're going 6% and accelerating up that grade. This is where it comes in.
The visualization's
it's like driving a normal car, not like driving a truck.
You need some software.
It's just that you're moving 82,000 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So any highway grade you come across, you can tackle at speed.
It's just a picture of the car there.
No slowdown.
Nope. And the other beauty is that
trailer.
you've got all this power going up, but you also have it going down. And what that means is you've got regenerative braking. So rather than using a Jake brake or engine braking like a diesel truck does, where you have to worry about hitting your shifts. If you miss a gear, you're onto your brakes and potentially in a runaway situation. You don't have to worry about any of that. There's no shifting, no nothing. And so the regen recaptures all that energy as you're going down these grades. But on top of it, it also is a safer system for not just the driver, but everybody on the road, because there's no gear to miss.
I mean,
That's
just it's worth reemphasizing that point. Because it's an electric drivetrain, when it goes downhill, you actually, or when you slow down, it recaptures the energy of motion.
Look at the power output bar, though.
Of height.
It's like
the kinetic energy are largely recaptured. Whereas for a diesel truck, that's not possible. You can't just create diesel. So
maybe you can.
You just end up heating brakes, and then your brakes overheat, and you can't use them, and then it's actually it's pretty dangerous because the brakes stop working.
Yeah, that's why you have runaway truck ramps.
Yeah.
And it's funny because, so if for any of you that have ever driven I-80 and driven Donner, there's a mandatory brake check stop for trucks down by Emigrant Gap. We've done this, and it's really funny because we'll go over the grade, we'll come down, and we just kind of pull to the side, and we're like, well, there's nothing to check. We've never used the things, and we just keep driving.
Yeah. And we get to the bottom of the hill, we have cold brakes.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's like mind-blowing in the trucking world. It's like insane.
Cold
basically.
brakes at the bottom.
So.
Yeah, they didn't say forever brake pads, just much, much longer brake pads.
So it's really worth emphasizing that. That's a significant safety improvement for the truck driver and for other people on the road.
Probably like 4 times longer brake
And
pads.
we also have excellent traction control because the precision of an electric motor is vastly better than a diesel engine. It's sort of got like I'm trying to think of the right analogy here, but like it's got the precision of like a laser printer. It's not great. It's like really precise. That's what I'm saying. The reaction
powerful.
is so it's like you don't have to worry about like traction control is awesome. It's got it's automatically stopping the truck.
Great for off-roading with the semi.
It's doing all this safety stuff in the background that just isn't possible with regular diesel trucks. It's just it's a step change in technology in so many ways.
Yeah, and the tight integration with the software team that we have here really makes that happen because it means that we can take all that, the precision and actually put it to use. It's not some tie-in of some third-party powertrain. No, this is all in-house. As we do this really neat chassis control work at the brake level, the traction control level, we integrate with our total stability control system and make sure that the driver has a lot of confidence, but also has everything they need to stay on the road.
I love that.
It's a really nice, neat integrated package overall in terms of software and control, and it's totally seamless to the driver, and it'll be a game changer in terms of safety.
Yeah.
Imagine if when Elon got in the semi, he just floored it.
So we talk power,
Right
you want
at
to talk
the camera.
efficiency?
Whoa.
Yeah, absolutely.
What?
So, some people out there say it can't be done. I don't know who might say that, but I've heard rumors.
Gil Bates.
And so we just did it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
They showed exactly where they went, too.
And we're going to post the whole video, unedited, on YouTube.
Thank you. Please do.
No jump cuts.
Yeah.
Not Twitter.
And this wasn't, some ultra clean, precise test track simulation or something where we, shut down a road. Nope, this is real world. This is over Grapevine. This is with traffic.
Whoa.
This is through 500 miles. We were loaded just under 82K. We no special aero treatments.
Yeah.
Truck came off the line, shook it down, made it run. That's it.
Yeah, there was like no fast moves here. So
Oh,
to be
I
clear,
love
it's
that.
not like, and what tricks did they pull? Were there actually a whole bunch of tricks we could have pulled?
Yeah.
And
Like
didn't.
what? Tell us.
Like as Dan said, like no special aero treatment.
Oh, and by the way, we should mention there was no charging. Like we charged the
Yeah,
truck.
yeah,
Yeah, we
to
didn't
be
stop
clear.
to charge. Single drive,
One charge, exactly.
Yeah.
Good point. So.
Minor detail.
Yeah, so it's not like 500 miles like with no load, with special aero and special everything. It's like fully loaded, going from the Bay Area. We actually had to like go a bit north to get to, actually add to get to 500 miles because you get, LA to the Bay Area is less than that.
Well, we
And
got
they had
all the way to San
4%.
Diego here. So we
okay, great,
we
yeah.
stressed out on the southern end. And do you want to see on the video?
Yeah.
We have the proof.
Absolutely. So
it's a long video, but here we go.
it's only 8 hours long. So
Yeah, buckle in. Don't worry, we brought lots of snacks.
Can you imagine if they literally just played an 8-hour video
But yeah,
and we just had to wait?
standard trip.
I would watch that.
Down the 5, up Grapevine, through
That's
LA,
real footage.
Traffic, construction. You know, we got the bypass on the way station, but
Whoa.
you know, running full 80 or just
Oh
under
wait,
82,
he's got
full
that
deliveries.
semi
Up the high.
visualizer there. Look behind the dude's hat.
yeah, real world. It's yeah.
He did take one restroom break for. There is a required mandatory 30-minute break within the first 8 hours of operation.
See there?
Took a small restroom break, but that was it. Yep.
He's got the semi on the. I've done that route too.
Cool.
That's amazing. I love that they recorded it.
So aerodynamic efficiency obviously matters a lot. You can see it's shaped like a bullet. It's really aerodynamic, and
Buy our bullet.
that helps a lot. As we get less than 2 kilowatt hours.
2
per
kilowatt
mile.
hours a mile.
Yep. So
And that's the name of the game,
Yeah.
is efficiency there. Yep.
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah, I mean it's really efficient in every way, and
I mean, the team's done a lot of awesome work. I mean,
Yes.
we went into the wind tunnel with this really cool model, rolling road, the whole 9 yards, and pulled in a lot of the learnings and all of our features from the car side that give us such great real-world efficiency there.
That's great. They had
And
4%
really want to make
battery
sure
life.
that the truck and the trailer have to work together. This is a combination. This is not just the truck. If you optimize one, you actually might disrupt the whole combination. And so we spent a lot of time, both virtually, but also in the wind tunnel to make this happen, and really some next level engineering to of everything they had to do there. And
That's
it means
wonderful.
that we've got a really efficient truck.
yeah.
Talk about the batteries. I want to hear about the battery pack. No.
As I said, it's as easy to drive as a Model 3. So it's like with basically no training, you can drive this.
It has
you know,
buttons and gear
to
stalks. Did you see that?
Think bigger when you're driving it, but it's not like it's
Whoa.
not hard to drive. It's really easy.
It
You
has a
put the
wireless
center-
charger. Oh my
put
God.
The seat in the center for max visibility. Low floor. You can stand up in the cabin.
Yeah, that's
USB-C.
actually like a really big deal. I mean,
Oh, they're
you're a
not-
tall guy, Elon.
they're not
You're
blinker
able to stand
buttons.
up just fine. And nice thing is that if you're a truck driver and you're out during the day, and
They're
it's,
like high beams
it's
and low
cold,
beams.
It's snowy, whatever. You can get in, and this isn't a sleeper cab. This is a day cab. You can still stand up, and you can shed your jacket, put it on the wall, all in the comfort. You can put your coveralls on while in the cab. So if you have to go do a dirty job,
But
you can
we
do
want a
that
sleeper
comfortably
cab.
as opposed to being out in the elements. So that's that level of space is unheard of. We were able to do that with some pretty innovative packaging. And on top of it, there's plenty of cargo storage, for drivers that need to bring any tools, other equipment along. And not to mention, we've got the plugins, the wireless charging, everything they need on the electronic side as well.
That's crucial.
Yep.
Please give us a sleeper version, though. We'll see if the slide
Yeah.
works.
So I've got efficiency in every aspect of the vehicle. I've got one-touch suspension dump, so it's very easy to attach to the trailer.
What?
It saves time and money. It's the fleet's more efficient, and the driver's home sooner.
Yeah, I mean, really, we're trying to extend the idea of this efficiency from not just while you're on the road, but
Whoa.
into the yard as well. That's before and after the truck has done its job on the road. Because
What
that
about the
means
panel
that
gap?
drivers at the end of the day are spending less time at the yard, and they're getting home earlier. And it makes their lives easier. We got a light
it's
test
beautiful.
that's easy to execute, helps with compliance.
Oh
There's
my
all these
God.
little things that the design team really spent their time researching. They did ride-alongs, they studied, they did all this work. It was really cool to watch them put. I mean, I think they even took like a bunch of like the various cups and put them in CAD, and you'll see them like put them in various cup holder sizes and places. They'll like mock up a bag. They'll do all kinds of neat stuff to understand how a driver works throughout the day, and it means that they'll have
where's
a
the
more
frunk?
efficient experience overall.
I need a frunk deep dive.
Right?
Whoa. V4! What are you talking about?
Obviously, to charge a truck like this quickly, you need a high-power charger. So
Whoa,
we developed a megawatt class charger, as it's capable of charging at a megawatt to DC.
Yeah.
Oh my
and
God.
it's our next generation immersive cooling, so it's liquid cooled, so you don't need like a gigantic elephant trunk of a cable. You can actually have a small cable.
How small is the
and
cable?
That cable delivers a megawatt. Yeah, with 3x the current density.
I mean, this is really cool stuff. I mean, you're actually immersing the conductor in the coolant, this water-based coolant that we have, and we're then doing some really neat isolation monitoring on the back end to ensure that it's safe in delivering that it needs to. But it means that we can really shove a lot of current in a very, very small place. So, for those that have worked and charged their cars on a V3 supercharger, and the cable's nice and maneuverable,
it's the same size,
here, but now we're just shoving a megawatt through it instead.
Whoa.
So, this is key for high power applications like semi. But you want to tell them, or do you want me to tell them?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be used for Cybertruck too.
Yeah.
Wait.
Coming to our superchargers next year. Yeah.
V4 does a megawatt? So how fast can the Cybertruck charge? Oh man, I need more info.
So the future of transport obviously requires a sustainable energy infrastructure. So you got to have all aspects of the energy.
Show me the charge port.
Sustainable power generation. Then you've got to store the power, and then you transfer the power to the vehicle. So the three pillars of a sustainable energy future are sustainable power generation with solar and wind.
No way the Cybertruck can get a megawatt.
Fan of nuclear, which we should support, and geothermal and many others. But things that are sustainable long term, But things like wind and solar are intermittent, so you have to have the battery pack to store the energy, so when the wind doesn't blow and the sun doesn't shine, you still have energy. And you can also buffer the power so you're not overloading the grid with spike loads.
Yeah, and our semi-customers are actively deploying this today, and we're working with them so that they have the pathway to get towards 100% sustainable future. But we have all of this at our disposal, commercial solar and Megapack. And the Megapack is great because not only can it do things like peak shaving or some of the other energy
I wish they would have shown the charge port.
It also provides a form of redundancy and backup. I mean, if we're going to ask a fleet to take on these trucks and run them, they need to ensure that they're going to be able to charge them and keep their fleet running even in the event of a power outage. And that's one of the things that we can do with the Megapack on site as well.
All right.
All right. He's like, that's enough of that.
So, and first deliveries are now.
Yeah.
Oh, is it time? Where's Pepsi? Megawatt charging capacity? That sounds hard to believe.
We'd just like to thank PepsiCo. They've been a great partner.
Oh, there they are.
Hey, guys.
They've been great. What have they done? What do they pay you?
Hey, let's go.
Oh.
So, yeah, we completed our first cargo run with a very enormous amount of Frito-Lays, which I'm sure we have a lot of them here.
Yeah. They gave him the keys. Wow. Oh, they got footage of the trucks, too. That's awesome.
All right. And yesterday, we were actually able to complete our first
Can we drop the music?
compliments of Frito-Lay. We took a truck down to their Modesto factory from here, and one of their drivers, we delivered the truck, they took it over, and they brought back a load of snacks for everybody here to enjoy tonight.
Hey, we're getting Cheetos! Woo!
Yep. So,
free
big
Cheetos!
Thanks to Kirk and Steven. Yeah.
Do you guys want to say anything?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Look, nothing like this happens without amazing people. And so I just want to thank the people that spent countless hours to make this a reality. That's it. The people.
The people.
That's it. I just want to echo, I know a lot of work went into it, and this is fantastic. We're thrilled about the delivery today, so thank you.
Yeah, thanks for letting us be a part of this. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dan.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Do they have to drive them away now? They got their keys. So they already delivered the semi.
All right, so
that was liar.
Thank you all for coming. It's been a long journey, 5 years, but this is going to really revolutionize the roads, and I think make the world a better place in a meaningful way. So thank you for your support through all the years.
Okay. Pretty short event. They started late, but they wrapped up at 40 minutes. So basically, it was like a 30-minute event, I guess. So, okay, there was definitely some interesting news bits in there, but I'm still left with questions. Like, for one, are they going to put pictures in? What is this? Okay, I hear music. There's random shots. Man, there's a lot of people there. But they wouldn't let the kilowatts in. So it's impressive that they went with a it's not a permanent magnet motor, so they can decouple the two motors to improve the efficiency. So you have one tiny motor moving 80,000 pounds down the freeway at like 60, 70 miles per hour, which is amazing. I love that they proved how they could do 500 miles, over 500 miles on one charge, and they included the data on that. But yeah, they didn't dive into the price. They didn't dive into Pepsi. I mean, they seem happy. They seem to be excited to be taking delivery. So, and thankful. So I assume whatever the price was, they're content with it. Oh, it's got like multiple cameras there. That's cool. He's got the phone button. Look, I can see it in the bottom. It's the Tesla toy box icon. You see it right there. And that's the toy box button, and I think that's the browser button. So if there's the toy box button, that means it does likely have fart mode, thank God. Pepsi got it at the old price. Well, everybody reserved with the old price. Tesla never provided any different pricing. So yeah, they're driving uphill. They're going 55 miles an hour. So these are not blinker buttons, at least on the real footage. In the renders, they had blinker buttons on the steering wheel. These have like high beams and low beams. I'm trying to look at what this footage shows. Yeah, it is a round steering wheel. I think that made a lot of sense. They wouldn't put a yoke on this thing. But it's a cool steering wheel design. I like that. The video is up on Tesla's YouTube. Okay, that's good. But I'm still curious about how big the battery is. We know that it probably is around 1 megawatt hours for the 500 mile range version. Oh, look, a Tesla is passing him. That's funny. Whoa. And they get the satellite view. So I assume that means they're paying for premium connectivity. Maybe you get lifetime premium connectivity with the Semi. But I want to see the charge port. They said that they're going to use this V4 supercharging cable, which can handle 1 megawatt on the Cybertruck. I don't know if that means the Cybertruck will support 1 megawatt. That seems crazy high, considering, the next fastest charging EV would be the Hummer, which can get a little bit over 350 kilowatts. No, it's not 500 kilowatt hours. Why is it driving while still showing the parked Semi image? Well, yeah, I assume this is beta code. It's not ready yet. But in one of their videos earlier, they did show the Semi visualized on the screen and around other cars, and they had Navigate on Autopilot on. The other thing I'm curious about is, they didn't talk about convoy mode, and they didn't talk about autopilot or full self-driving performance. And this guy is driving manually. He's not using autopilot. Maybe they're not ready to use autopilot on such a big vehicle yet. But yeah, so I'm still definitely left with a bunch of questions. They didn't say that it had NACS. I don't think it has NACS. It has to be a 1 megawatt hour pack if it goes 500 miles at 2 kilowatt. Well, that was the thing, though, is they said it's under 2 kilowatt hours per mile. So if it's consistently under 2 kilowatt hours a mile, it might be a little bit under 1 megawatt hour. But yes, I agree. That is a nice round number. Benjamin says, I wish more Cybertruck news came out. What did I tell you? I told you going into this, don't expect anything other than Tesla Semi news. Although I'm most interested and most excited about the efficiency numbers, the range, and the charging speed, I think, was the most interesting stuff. And that this is a 1,000 volt architecture. And they basically said we're going to use this on other vehicles in the future. To me, that was practically confirmation, in my view. Okay, the live stream's officially ended. I'm going to check their YouTube channel for more dedicated videos. Fully loaded. Oh, here you go. It's a 2-minute video. It's a time lapse of the 500 mile drive. It's just music, so I'm going to leave it muted. But I think they basically said at this event that the Cybertruck will be built on a 1,000 volt architecture. Now, I'm very confident the Cybertruck is going to use NACS. It would be insane for them to use something else on the Cybertruck. But the Semi, we know from close-up pictures of the mega chargers that they put different things. They put different connectors on the end. They're not NACS. Super thankful they didn't imply removal of the drivers in eventuality. Too many jobs tied to trucking. Well, I'm sure if you asked him about that, Elon would say that is the future. But yeah, it appears that they're not using autopilot. You know, he's keeping his hands on the wheel. Maybe it's just a safety reason. Um, but you can see, okay, look, let me pause this. There's certain points where the guy turns his head. You can tell right here the semi is actually being visualized, and that's got a line on it. So maybe he is using autopilot and he's just being extra cautious with his hands on the wheel. I don't see an autopilot symbol, though. It's kind of hard to tell. The screen's pretty tiny. But Cybertruck design on the comparison slide was pretty slick. That was the closest thing we got to a Cybertruck update. Is the idea to have two types of V4 superchargers, one for the semi and other for Tesla vehicles? I believe so. I don't believe it makes any sense logically to have semis share superchargers with normal consumer vehicles. If anything, I would argue that the semis should get mega chargers because they support the megawatt charging speed. And we went to the bathroom. Oh yeah, they put the text there. I want to look here. There's a little alert message there, but I can't really tell what it says. I wonder if the Tesla Semi has Sentry mode. 1,000 miles with no trailer? That would have been a good question too. What happens if you're running at like half payload capacity? Because Frito-Lay is not going to be filling these things with that much weight. But yeah, it's a cool video. I'm glad they posted this. That's awesome. Cybertruck might have 2 ports. I can't see an adapter being able to handle suck high current, especially because an adapter isn't water cooled. No, I don't think it's about having an adapter, but I think the Cybertruck is going to have NACS in a 1,000 volt architecture, which I assume will allow it to charge faster than 250 kilowatts, because that's what they said at the unveil. I don't think it means it'll charge at 1 megawatt. Aero for semi without trailer wouldn't allow 1,000. Yeah, I doubt. That's true. That's a good point. The aerodynamics alone probably would prevent it from getting that fast, but I still have a lot of questions, to be honest, so I'm glad they uploaded that, but I'm still wondering, like, okay, first of all, let me highlight the screen so you can see me a little better. First of all, how many are they building, right? Like, did they just deliver 2? And what do they expect the ramp to be like? I think they said they expect, at the last earnings call, to have like 50,000 on the road by the end of 2024. Whether or not that was overly ambitious, I guess we'll find out. But they didn't tell us about the battery pack size, or what cells they're using. I'm pretty confident that the mega chargers will have a certain connector like the ones we saw, which I have pictures of actually. Let me find it here. I'll get a picture. There's a guy that watches my videos that's very close by. So this is the mega charger at Frito-Lay, the one that they're probably going to use right now because they just took delivery. And if you look at the connector themselves, that's what it looks like. It's not NACS, but it's definitely something that we've seen Tesla toying around with char in, and it can handle definitely over 1 megawatt. But I think the Cybertruck will have a NACS connector, but they basically said that the cable size of V4 is the same as the cable size as V3, which is impressive. So no, I don't think that people are still getting the hour thing confused. You charge at 1 megawatt. You don't charge at 1 megawatt hour. Megawatt hour is the size of a battery pack. Megawatt is the speed of the charge. How much is it going to cost? Yeah, they didn't dive into pricing either, which, I mean, Pepsi and Frito-Lay seemed happy about the pricing. And as far as we're aware, no one has said that no one has given us a number. No one has said we're actually paying more for these. It's funny that they brought snacks for everyone though with the semi. But yeah, I love the detail they went into on the powertrain. That was good. And yeah, they detailed their lineup here. This was a cool slide. I like this picture. See, that's the Cybertruck prototype. That one doesn't have mirrors or the windshield wiper. Yeah, it is an earlier version of MCS plug. That's correct. My guess for Cybertruck is 350 kilowatts charging speed. Well, you know, it definitely makes me wonder. It increases the likelihood that... Oh, here's a cool video. They posted on Twitter the heavy-duty testing. If they are putting 1,000 volts, which is a very high voltage, and they're boasting that V4 superchargers are going to handle 1 megawatt, which is like, why would you put 1 megawatt at regular superchargers? Are you just baking in a ton of overhead? I don't think the Semi is going to go to superchargers. That's going to be impractical with such a big trailer. But if they are going with a hyper efficient charging architecture and they want you to be able to charge that fast, that quickly, it increases the likelihood that the Cybertruck will have a very large battery pack, which disproves my guess that the range is going to be low. I'm not trying to get y'all too excited here because I still think it's best to err on the side of caution. Yeah, here, Dirty Tesla is saying it. Cybertruck probably will be 1,000 volts and charge at 400 kilowatts. That doesn't seem... Oh, Tesla Scope says we'll be a tad higher. Somehow they know something. But if you were going to charge at 400 kilowatts, it would probably because you have a very large battery pack. Like if my theory ends up being right and they're using like 120, 130 kilowatt hour battery packs, 400 kilowatt doesn't make much sense. Why not use NAC supports 1 megawatt hour? I don't know. I mean, they said that their V4 charging cable can handle 1 megawatt plus. So I think them saying that it goes over 1 megawatt implies that it would be charging faster on this connector than it would on NACS. Yeah, but they said that the new V4 superchargers will support Tesla Semi and Cybertruck. That's what I'm trying to wrap my head around. Are they going to make superchargers that charge the Semi? That doesn't seem right. But yeah, this is the mind-blowing part to me. Is that's the thickness of a V3, and this is the thickness of a V4. So the cable, which I've used a V3 supercharger, the cable's very thin. It's not very big at all, and yet it can handle a megawatt, or they're claiming over a megawatt, which is insane. Ivan says Cybertruck 500-mile range confirmed. No, I won't say that. But this does increase the likelihood. JB Straubel sitting here talking with Elon and Franz now in the back. Oh, that's cool. JB's there. Awesome. No production numbers announced. It's still unclear how many Tesla semis have been produced. Yeah, that data I would love to know. Autopilot was not demonstrated nor discussed during today's event. It's important to note that you can visually see the autopilot is available but not engaged gray icon. Well, yeah, they're reaching a bit there. I don't know if I agree with them. It's very pixelated. You can't really tell what that says. And the gray icon doesn't necessarily mean that autopilot's available. It could just be, the code is clearly not behaving properly. It's showing the picture of the Semi parked when he's driving 55 miles an hour. So it's beta software. I don't think that necessarily means he could use autopilot. But yeah, this leaves us with a lot of questions. I don't think having big semi trucks at the same charge stations as smaller cars makes much sense. I feel like they need to have separate chargers. If Model 3 is 250 kilowatts at 82 kilowatt hours, that is just over 3C. I'm not going to explain the C terminology now, but hopefully you guys know what that means. Extrapolating for Cybertruck, it is 150 to 200 kilowatt hours, and charging speed could be 450 to 600 kilowatt. Well, again, we don't know the peak charging speed of the truck or the battery pack size either. The driver was clicking on the right scroll wheel like the Plaid. Okay, that's a good sign. D for drive, I'm assuming. Yeah, that's what it looked like to me. It's just like whatever gear you're in is highlighted. Could this be fake, just like the moon landing? Oh my god. Don't go there. Loaded diesel semi gets about 8 miles per gallon. A gallon of diesel is at about 40 kilowatt hours equivalent, so that makes the Tesla Semi 2.5 times as efficient. That's wonderful. Not to mention much, much cheaper. And someone was arguing earlier that there's not a shortage of semi-truck drivers. There's a shortage of pay because the pay is not very good for semi-truck drivers. And that's why they're not getting enough of them. But I just wanted to mention that if it's 2.5 times cheaper to move the vehicle, you can pay the driver a lot more because you don't have to pay for diesel fuel anymore, which is very expensive. So if you lower your operating costs, then you can increase the pay for the truck drivers. So if you need more, you can afford to pay them more because the operating expenses are much lower. But yeah, I would still love to know what they're paying for them. I wonder if Pepsi will dive into that in a future earnings call or something. Like, how much did these things cost them? It's funny that they got key cards though. That made me laugh. They just handed them the little key cards. When do you think the Roadsters are going to come? It's a shot in the dark. No idea, but I'm going to go out on a limb and assume after Cybertruck. So I think 2023 is going to be all about getting the Cybertruck to market. And just like how the Tesla Semi just barely launched in 2022, but they have officially started. Wow, that's fun to say. Tesla Semi deliveries have begun, ladies and gentlemen. And it's December. They were on schedule, which is pretty rare for Tesla. Not the OG schedule. They wanted to start production in 2019, but Cybertruck and Semi will share same charging stations. Makes sense for towing. See, that I was pitching a while ago. That makes more sense to me. Sharing the Tesla Semi with normal car superchargers, that doesn't make sense. But letting the Cybertruck charge at both. So the Cybertruck could charge at a supercharger, and maybe somewhere on the Cybertruck they put MCS connector, the same connector they're putting on the Semi. They put that on the Cybertruck, so if you're towing, you could charge at a mega charger, and it's like exclusive to just the Semi and the Cybertruck. That makes sense to me. Musk did not confirm size of the battery in the 500-mile run. Stalker cheater. Well, they said that it uses the size of the battery ultimately doesn't matter. The point is it consumed less than 2 kilowatt hours per mile. That's where the cost savings are. Again, we don't know the total price of the truck, so what the battery pack size is isn't like super important to the consumer. The point was that he was making with that comparison was a lot of people were claiming that there was no way you could go 500 miles on a charge with an electric semi truck, and they're saying yes you can. And one from the driver is laying on the floorboard sleeping. Really? He's probably tired. He's required to stop. This stream is comforting as I'm sitting on a plane knowing I will miss my next connection. Oh no! That's disappointing. I'm sorry. No guarantee that the TOS decrease goes towards drivers or consumers, unfortunately. Oh, good, Terry. But there's definitely no guarantee if you do it with a diesel because the price of diesel is so high. Whereas if you switch to an electric semi, it's an option. If no one's applying for jobs because your semi truck expenses are too high and you're not willing to pay anyone enough, then the Tesla Semi opens up the option. I mean, there's no sense in having a bunch of semi trucks that aren't being driven by anybody. So I'm not saying it's a guaranteed pay increase, but it increases the likelihood greatly of there being a pay increase, whereas you don't have that at all with the diesel one. Battery size dictates cargo capacity. It does, but at max payload, they were at 82,000. It seemed like they had a lot of stuff on the back. If under 2 kilowatt hours per mile, does this mean under 1,000 kilowatt hours for 500 mile? Potentially. Again, we don't know what the average energy consumption was. So, but they're saying it's under 2. So, assuming there's a little business marketing moves a little bit there, most people are extrapolating that means it's about a megawatt hour. They showed the data on what the remaining miles were from the Fremont to San Diego at intermediate stops. It's got the range. Yeah, the range is there. But they're using them. People buying them. They didn't detail the curb weight, but Pepsi seems on board with it, and they're using them. They said they're going to use them for moving their own stuff between factories. Range is indicative of aerodynamics and efficiently. True. Chips are mostly air, yes. So we don't know the official payload capacity still, but they're building them. They're making them. People are buying them. They're delivering. So hopefully it's not too long before Pepsi or whoever gives us details. Oh, no. There's already people that are making there's already people that are making crazy claims. Look at this. Electric tweeted, Tesla confirms Cybertruck is going to get 1 megawatt ultra fast charging tech. I don't know if that's exactly what they said, but okay. Sure, Fred Lambert, sure. Someone took a picture of the semi mirrors and they said there's 3 cameras on them. That's kind of cool. There's 1 camera here, 1 here, and 1 here. Nice. They need a contract with Pringles. Mechanics just have to learn to work on them. They are less complex than ice. Yeah, there's not as much to work on. Did they say the horsepower and torque total? No, but they said that it's 3 times more powerful than any diesel semi-truck, so plenty. This tweet is funny. Tesla Semi defies laws of physics and is passing us by if true, said Dahmer's head of truck. Dahmer says it defeats the laws of physics, which is hilarious. They probably just don't understand energy density and how much energy you can fit in a low-weight battery pack. It's clickbait referring to V4. Yeah, I mean, they said that they were going to use, I think he basically alluded to them using 1,000 volts on the Cybertruck. That doesn't mean it can fast charge at 1 megawatt. Most likely going to be a near electrician to be in a mechanic. Truckers get paid on cargo weight. Well, they're buying them. Not all. Keep in mind, not all semi trucks are running at max payload. I understand that some are, but a lot of them aren't. Probably, definitely not Frito-Lay's. They're limited volumetrically. So it drives me nuts when people are like, why can't this replace every single semi truck on the road in every single use case? It's not. It doesn't have to replace every single truck today. They don't have enough of them to do that. As long as it can replace some of them, then that's better for the environment. And there are some semi-truck use cases where the Tesla Semi definitely makes sense. There are still some other longer routes or certain ones that probably require extremely high payload capacities where the Tesla Semi may not make sense yet, but that's okay because there's plenty of others that are not running at max payload. The cooling in the cables, Drew, the cable is going to be the same for superchargers and megawatts. Yeah, I got that, but they implied... Fred Lambert instantly implied that means that the Cybertruck is going to get 1 megawatt fast charging tech. Maybe he's like, well, I don't mean it will charge at 1 megawatt. I just mean it will get 1 megawatt charging tech. It's like, you're throwing people off. Now there's so many people are going to take that headline and run with it and assume this means that the Cybertruck will charge at 1 megawatt. Let's see. They're already delivered a number of them to PepsiCo Modesto. Correct. That was the point of the event. Its deliveries have begun. It doesn't defy the laws of physics. They just use a massive battery pack. Yeah, pretty much. That's how it works. They'll have to get better customer service if they have major commercial customers yet. Well, I'm sure the commercial customers will contact a different division at Tesla, obviously. Literally said a megawatt going through the charge cable and it was still flexible. Yeah, the cable can handle it. That doesn't mean the Cybertruck can take it. Those are two different things. He didn't say you don't charge at 1 megawatt hour, Jonathan. You charge at 1 megawatt. They're not going to put a megawatt hour in the Cybertruck. That's not... That's ridiculous. It's 1,000 volts. Number delivered to Pepsi equals 2. Pretty much at this point, but there were clearly lots of other semis. Oh yeah, they didn't talk about armored glass. There was no talk about the bullet... I don't think they ever call it bulletproof glass, but they called it armored glass, which was supposed to age a lot better. I wonder if they scrapped that. Maybe that glass isn't ready yet. Do I have to leave my semi at the service center with the key card inside when there's no receptionist there? Yeah, pretty much. I spoke with a Frito-Lay driver about 2 weeks ago, and he said there were quite a few in the warehouse. Nice! That's exciting. I wonder if anyone will get one and do crazy range tests for stuff like piggybacking trailers. That would be interesting. I feel like it would be fun to do a hyper aerodynamic trailer that's not just a box, but like, kind of a Aptera style teardrop shape, and try to make it, use the shorter semi that doesn't have the high roof, make it as aerodynamic as possible and see how high a range you can get. FSD for semi win. I don't know about FSD. We don't have confirmation that the semi has autopilot yet. We didn't have any video of it with autopilot turned on. So I wonder if convoy mode has been shelved, or they just feel like because the vehicle's so big, they're not comfortable with it running FSD beta yet. I was just looking at this picture here. Look how strong the regen is right now. He's gone 55, but man, the regen is just screaming. It's recapturing all that energy. Let's see. If the truck takes 2 kilowatt hours to go 1 mile and the range is 500 in the pack. Again, we know that 2 kilowatt hours per mile, 500 miles equals 1 megawatt hour. But the point is, they double down several times. It uses less than 2. We don't know how much more than 2. 1 megawatt hour is a good assumption, but it's not a guarantee, because if they're averaging 1.8 or 1.7, then they could technically get to 500 miles of range with a 950 kilowatt hour, not quite a megawatt hour. We'll see. Sandy Monroe needs to tear one down. I think he's gonna have to rip it apart. Nothing new here. I talked to Frito-Lay. There was a lot of new information, in my opinion, unless you knew the things I didn't know. He said they were told to lie about the number delivered. I think sounds like a bunch of what's that cup game? people repeating things over and over again, and now I'm hearing the other end of it. But companies would get in big trouble for that, so I don't think they would be doing it. Hopefully we get a Tesla minivan in a few years. My guess is you're not going to get a minivan until Elon's out of the company. Do you know whether the Semi can charge 70% in 30 minutes? Well, they said it could on the website. They said that the cables they've designed for it are, what were they? Over 1 megawatt, and if it's a 1 megawatt hour battery pack, then yeah, that should be possible. Telephone is the game. Yeah, it sounds like a game of telephone. A bunch of people repeating things and then not a lot of things being lost in translation. They were probably just told not to go into detail on how many were delivered, but 1,000 volts for the Cybertruck is new information. The V4 superchargers being the same thickness, the V4 charging cables being the same thickness as the V3 is news. The non-permanent motors that they put on the back is news. I didn't know that. And the fact that they posted the whole range test is awesome. I'm glad they recorded that. Make sure you wear the electric gloves, of course. But yeah, on the website, it still mentions that they can charge up to 70% in 30 minutes. I feel like most of the time the semis are going to be charging slower overnight, though. And depending on the route, some of them probably won't need to drive that far, that long. Basically, they were like, how many... they were like, how far can we drive this thing? They weren't really delivering anything. They were just testing it. But with a lot of routes being sub 250 miles, you're going to deliver a payload and then be a lot lighter on the way back. So your range would be even better than that. But yeah, we had lots of clips to choose from. I can pull up more if you guys want, but let's see if they uploaded anything else to YouTube. It's going to be a tough sell for independent truckers. Not really, dude. They got so many reservations, they turned off orders. They're not trying to sell you on it. They don't. If you wanted a semi, even if the independent truckers were sold on it, you can't buy one now. Only the people who put in their deposits can get one. What's up with the two different heights on the semi? So I'm pretty much convinced that if you're using a full-size trailer, the taller one is more aerodynamically friendly, whereas if you're using a oddly shaped trailer that's not a box, that just has whatever the payload is, if it's a bunch of Teslas, if it's cement crates, or if it's a bulldozer, if it's something that's not super aerodynamic, then you just want the trailer cab to be as short as possible. So that's why the shorter one would make sense for some use cases and the taller one would make sense for other use cases. I would also be curious of the range without much cargo. The data will say it all when commercial fleets realize the benefit will only be a matter of time. The number of fleets that will benefit from the current Tesla semi specs, the current range, the current price, I understand it's not all of them. Just like the Tesla Roadster was not meant to replace every single car on the road, and I feel like that's what a lot of similarities I'm seeing are with, like, but this one semi-truck, the first iteration they ever made, can't replace every single semi-truck use case in the world, therefore it's a flop. It doesn't have to replace all of them. They are not demand constrained. With the semi in particular, they are extremely, extremely supply constrained. And there's a bunch of people that have orders for the semi that are probably still going to have to wait years before they can get them, depending on how quickly this ramp goes. We'll see if they dive into that in the next earnings call. Let's see. Where are all the Tesla Q people at? Yeah, right. Well, they'll find something else to complain about. Yeah, but they didn't deliver that many, though. It's like, well, before you said it was impossible. Before you said they would never do it and this was all a joke and it could never happen. Now it's happening. It's just you're mad that it's not happening at high volume. Independent truckers did not hand over $25,000 in order to wait years for delivery. They said at the event that it wouldn't be ready until much later. So they agreed for it. Those are corporate orders and some hyperduce YouTubers, not you, brother, but you know the types. Yes, but there were independent truckers, though. There was at least one I saw on Twitter that was at this event that ordered one, and Zach and Jesse from Now You Know also ordered one. They are not corporate orders. So I don't know how many others there are, but there's a lot of crazy rich Tesla fans out there that bought a lot of Tesla stock early on that are going to use the Tesla semis to drive their mobile homes around. No air brake check. Well, it said they had an option to, but they reached the bottom of hills with cold brakes. More so talking about the hardcore truckers that are diesel heads with the huge shift knobs. Yeah, I'm sure there's all kinds of semi-truck drivers that probably will hate it, but they don't get to decide what they drive. Their bosses do. Um, do we know which battery cells are used on the semi? We're pretty dang confident it's the 2170s, but we haven't gotten confirmation. All we know from Elon is that the semi is not using 4680 cells. Theoretically, I guess they could be using 1865 cells, but it wouldn't really make much sense for the application because the Tesla Semi is not so much all about high performance. It's more so about energy density and efficiency. So for what they're targeting, the 2170 cells make the most sense. So that's what most people are assuming, but I'm just clarifying. No one from Tesla has actually told us what cells they're using. Got my EV6 at the same time as your purchase of the Model 3. It's cool to see your reviews and compare them to CCS Life as comparison. That is cool. I hope you're liking the EV6. That's definitely one of the most tempting non-Teslas I've ever seen. I really like the Kia EV6. I don't like the charge port, though. That's definitely one thing I don't like about it. I like the exterior design, though. And I like the range and the price it's got going for it. Going to be pretty awesome to see them on the roads. I know! I can't wait to finally see one. I'm going to freak out when I do. Let's see. The built-in compliance checks on the infotainment was cool. Yeah, you could just press all the different the light checks and the air checks and all that. Passing diesel trucks on hills. It's crazy that they can maintain so much weight on the freeway with one motor. That's amazing. I wonder if they would incorporate some kind of this type of powertrain, right? Because the Cybertruck, obviously, they want it to be quad motor for the traction control and the all-wheel drive, and they know they want to use the Cybertruck for off-roading and that kind of thing. But if they built in those motors, other EV companies have done this, by the way. It's not unique to Tesla. It's actually kind of bizarre that Tesla hasn't come up with any motors that decouple at highway speed because it's more energy efficient to just have the front motor activated and the back motors disconnected. I would love to see them bring that to the Cybertruck because that would, again, especially when towing, improve your efficiency and your range. I like the idea of Cybertruck and Semi charging at special pull-throughs. I hope this means new supercharging stations will be pull-through for even Model X and Y with towing. I don't know, because I'm not convinced that the Semi is using the NACS connector. Maybe it is, but they didn't say that. And they said that the Semi can do over 1 megawatt charge speed, but in their NACS document, they pretty much said that 1 megawatt is the peak speed. So it doesn't come with Starlink. I don't think so. But I don't think you'd want it to. The speed wouldn't be much better than cellular. Recycling Plaid powertrain is the ultimate vertical integration and takes out surprises with a new motor. Surprise issues. Oh, I'm not convinced it's the same powertrain because I don't think the Plaid, they used the same carbon fiber sleeved rotors. They mentioned that, but I don't think the powertrain is identical because it's the two motors on the rear of the Semi are non-permanent magnet motors, whereas the Plaid, I'm pretty sure, is a permanent motor, which means it can't decouple. So at highway speeds, you can't get that efficiency gain. Yeah, if they incorporate that in the Cybertruck, that could help with range a bit, especially when towing. So I like to lean on the side of caution because I very much feel like the Cybertruck has more hype than any other vehicle I've ever seen. People are so extremely pumped and hyped for the Cybertruck. It makes me feel like it's going to disappoint in some way, shape, or form. Maybe just like how the Tesla Semi, they didn't talk about armored glass. Maybe the Cybertruck doesn't get armored glass. Maybe the Cybertruck range is worse than we think. And I'm definitely confident that the price is going to be much worse than we think. Worse than what it was at Advale. So I'm comfortable telling people, like, be careful. I want to be wrong on this, for the record. I would love to be wrong. I would just hate to expect the range to be 500 and then I turn out to be right and then it's way worse than we thought. It's the same layout as the Plaid, correct? Not the same drivetrain. So both the Plaid and the Semi have 3 motors, but the drivetrain is a little different. I never thought I'd hear Tesla say one of their vehicles has a clutch. Yeah, but you don't think about it. It just works. You drive it like a regular car. As a defense for CCS / I think you mean NACS video, I do want to say Electrify America has cheaper rates and sometimes free when they have software updates. Yeah, that's how they subsidize the fact that their network sucks, is because they offer cheaper rates. If Electrify America was more expensive, there would be literally no reason to use them. But yeah, they don't, they're not operating at a profit. They basically made Electrify America as a settlement because of Dieselgate. Um, so when the network is unreliable, you make it cheaper. But I don't think ultimately you want to encourage more people to level 3 fast charge if they don't need to. That's why I don't really agree with the concept of giving out free Electrify America charging, because that encourages people to fast charge when they don't need to, and that clogs up the chargers and wears them out faster. It's worse for your battery. Maybe Cybertruck will have the same decoupling tech to get to 500 miles, and you're wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I've been saying that for years. I definitely don't want the Cybertruck to have 300 miles of range. I just think financially and production ramp-wise, it makes too much sense. When the demand is this high, and there's tons and tons of electric trucks like the Ford F-150 Lightning and the Rivian that are selling for $80,000, $90,000, and they only go 300 miles on a charge, and Tesla has a way bigger backlog than any of those vehicles, it makes more sense to start with a lower range option until you get through the demand backlog, then offer higher range options. It just, business 101 makes so much sense to do the lower range, but the fact that they want to do 1,000 volts and they want to boast about using V4 supercharging tech that can go up to a megawatt, and that's going to help with fast charging the Cybertruck. I don't think that means the Cybertruck is going to be 1 megawatt, but it does point to the idea that they could be prioritizing the high range with the Cybertruck, which I really hope they do. It would be great if they did. But it still makes a lot of sense in my head. With the same number of cells, no matter how many cells you have, you can build a lot more trucks if you make them all 300 miles of range versus 500. And the only counter argument anyone ever has to that is, no, Drew, because that would impact the demand. And I'm just like, there's no demand issue. Even if all the Cybertrucks were 300 miles of range, they would still sell every one they make. Just like Hummer can sell every one they make, despite that being a ridiculously expensive vehicle, very inefficient, not very practical. It's just meant for off-roading fun. There's still a big line of people buying it, and GM had to turn off orders for the Hummer EV because they had way more orders than they could fill for like years. So it makes a lot of sense for the Cybertruck to compromise in that way, because they could get away with it and they could build a lot more of them faster. But maybe there's a chance there's a different limiting factor. Maybe the Cybertruck production is not limited by how many cells they have. I feel like Tesla has always kind of said from the beginning they are, in the short term, chip constrained, but long term they are cell constrained. So there's other things limiting production right now, but the Cybertruck's going to be in production a lot longer than the chip shortage is going to be a thing. Let's see. I enjoy the free and cheaper rates anyways. Yeah, but from a consumer's perspective, it's great. Yeah, but I don't think we should encourage it, because if they're just losing money on it, they have very little incentive to fix it. That's the problem we're having with Electrify America, is it's unreliable and it's broken. If you're not making money on it, why are you going to bother trying to repair it and make sure it works properly? Wouldn't they want to prioritize higher cost Cybertrucks to make more of a profit? That's, regardless, they can charge whatever they want. That's my point. Like, just because the range is lower doesn't mean that they have to charge less for it. They are right now selling out and had to turn off orders for Hummer EVs that had 330 miles of range. All of them cost over $100,000, and there is still a backlog. Still way too many people wanted to buy it. So if you, I'm still saying prioritize the high cost Cybertruck. I'm just saying that they'll justify the high cost by saying the powertrain is so good and the exoskeleton is so durable, and it'll be the fastest truck. It'll have the best charging network out of any other electric truck. It'll have a lot of payloads capacity. It'll have a big bed. It'll be very practical, other than the range compromise. And they could still charge $120,000, and I still think that Tesla still can't get through the Model X backlog. That's what I try to remind people. Are like, well, everyone, when they're thinking about the Cybertruck pricing, always wants to compare it to a Rivian or an F-150 Lightning. You're not comparing it to other Teslas, which is really what it's competing with. It's like the Model X is 100 kilowatt hours, less motors, less features, less practical, and they charge 120 grand for that thing. Cybertruck's supposed to have a bigger battery pack, more motors, more rear wheel steering apparatus, bigger tires, adaptive air suspension, the air compressor you tap into, extra voltage. It's got the vault. It's got big glass windows. It's much larger than the Model X. And you think they're going to charge $40,000 less for a vehicle that has all of these extra complexities to it? Is like, if they can comfortably sell Model X's at $120,000, I think they could easily sell Cybertrucks at $120,000, even if the range isn't good. Quad motor Cybertruck at 110 grand before lots of options is my prediction. I think you're probably pretty close. The Hummer EV is pretty cool and just ridiculous, but that was always the point of it. I know it's ridiculous, but I'm just saying that it proves my point that demand is not going to be an issue, regardless of how bad the range is of the Cybertruck. It doesn't need to have good range to sell well. That's my point. Because none of these other electric trucks do. They should at least start with a 300-mile range, then bring longer range options online later. Yeah, that was my whole prediction from the beginning. They could build ramp trucks faster, still charge a lot for them if they use smaller battery packs with them. But I'd love to be wrong. If they just decide, nope, we said 500 miles, we got to deliver 500 miles, and they do it, then great, that's wonderful. Maybe they're limited by something else. Maybe they're limited by how many chips they have, or how quickly they can build hardware for full self-driving computers, or they're limited by how fast they can build the exoskeleton with all that steel. There could be something else involved with the Cybertruck, and they're like, this is the limiting factor, not the number of cells we use. So hopefully that's the case, and they just decide, okay, well, we can't build that many trucks, so if we can't build that many, let's make sure all of them have really good range. As such, the Cybertruck should deliver on the 500 miles, no doubt. If not all Cybertrucks with 500, there will be a tier option with 500. Well, there's that special word everyone's using again, should. It should have it. I know it's very easy to say Tesla shouldn't have build quality problems. Tesla should be cheaper, but that's not necessarily the reality we live in. The reality is they're a company and they're looking to cut costs and they want to ramp quickly, so they make compromises for the sake of bettering the business health. Did I see the Robotaxi covered on the slideshow? Yep, it's the exact same picture they showed at Battery Day over 3 years ago. Nothing new there. If we take a look at the history of Tesla and Elon, I have no known account of any informative event on their vehicles whereby the specs put out by Elon not met on the actual production vehicle. I can think of two. For one, when they announced the 4680 cells and the structural battery pack, they said at Battery Day that would improve the range. The range increase opportunity was up to 50%. So that didn't mean they guaranteed a 50% range increase, but as soon as they made a 4680 Model Y, the range was worse and the weight wasn't better. It was about the same weight as a long-range Model Y, but it only got 270 miles of range, even though they said there was a range increase opportunity on multiple times. Also, at Battery Day, when they unveiled the Plaid Model S, it was originally stated that it could go 520 miles on a charge, over 520. When they delivered the Plaid Model S at the delivery event, the range was like 350 miles because they decided to not use the 4680 cells. And the 1865 cells weren't as energy dense. They could easily pull that again with the Cybertruck because the 4680s are clearly taking a lot longer to build than they expected. They could easily decide, well, we couldn't get the 4680 cells at volume like we wanted. And just like how they originally thought the Tesla Semi, also I believe Elon said in a tweet that they could get the Semi to 600 miles of range. Now we just had the event. They're still pushing 500. I'm sure with a lower payload you could probably get it to 6, but they said that the Plaid would go over 520 miles, and it ended up going 350 because they compromised on the cell chemistry to prioritize the production ramp. And there's no way they could, and there's still definitely a possibility they could do that with the Cybertruck. To prioritize the production ramp, they could end up using 2170 cells, maybe a non-structural battery pack. You know, I don't have this belief anymore that the Cybertruck needs 4680s. It can only work with 4680s because they said the exact same thing about the Semi. They said, we could build the Semi at any time, but it needs the 4680 cells. And now they just delivered them and they said, well, they don't have 4680 cells. We don't need that for the Semi. They could easily do that with the Cybertruck again and say, we need the 2170 cells to get it to market. So there have been multiple instances of them claiming range would be better than it actually ended up being. So those are my known accounts. let's see. Will this move the stock price? Usually Tesla events never do anything with the stock price. Random nonsense news articles boost the stock price, and typically after every major Tesla event the stock tanks because it never lives up to the hype. Everybody goes into every Tesla event expecting there to be fireworks and explosions and all Teslas are free now, and we announced that Tesla Bot is ready and robotaxis are done and FSD beta is available for all. Everyone always has unrealistic expectations, and then they all sell their stock after the event because it didn't live up to their insane hype. Did Tesla claim crab walk for the Cybertruck? Elon did on Twitter. We'll see if that actually made it into the vehicle. But yeah, Elon's made a lot of claims about the Cybertruck, but they did say it would have rear wheel steering and that you'd be able to point all the wheels in the same direction to crab walk with them. It's actually 500 plus because they went from 97% to 4% for 500 miles. Elevation between San Diego and Fremont is -13, which meant on a flat road it's easily 500 plus miles. Yeah, it's real world. I'm glad it went over 500, but I'm just saying there were instances of Elon claiming it would do 6. The timing of the semi announcement is likely tied to the ramps we are seeing at Austin 4680. They need the 46Ls to free up the 2170s for semi. But they haven't offered all-wheel drive 4680 Model Ys yet. They've still never put that on the configurator. I'm pretty confident most of the Model Ys coming out of Giga Texas are still 2170 cells. They haven't been offering accelerated delivery like they used to. And the Model Ys that people are taking delivery of from Austin don't say, in the owner's manual, they usually specify if it's a structural battery pack or not. That's how you would know if it's 4680, and they're not specifying that. So I'm pretty sure that they're still mostly building 2170s, and the 4680s are just taking a lot longer than they thought, or they're not at the energy density they want them to be. So that could throw off Cybertruck range a lot. Maybe neither of us are right, and they end up compromising with 420 miles of range. Okay, I was wrong, but the 500-mile range claim was also wrong. Alpha, thank you for your support, supercharging the channel. Any updates on the adoption of NACS? Not really, other than Aptera definitely is going to. And they announced a supplier that's going to build the cables and the charge ports that they implement in their vehicles. So, not really. I mean, I've been bugging companies for it. I've been tagging Jim Farley of Ford and RJ of Rivian and Lucid Motors on Twitter, telling all of them they should switch to NACS. Aptera liked one of my tweets about it, but no, other than that, there hasn't really been any updates. The semi-truck release should increase the stock, but Tesla stock is a lot of times and all over. The Tesla stock has never behaved based on what Tesla has done or announced. I've been a Tesla stockholder for years, and before that, I even watched Tesla stock pretty closely. And whenever Tesla announces some great big thing, the stock never jumps. In fact, usually Tesla will announce some great big thing and then the stock tanks. Like the stock went down after Battery Day. The stock went down after the Cybertruck unveiling. I would not be surprised at all if the stock went down tomorrow. But no one knows what's going to happen. Don't believe anyone that claims they know what's going to happen. Nickel iron phosphate. You mean lithium iron phosphate? For 300 miles and 4680 for 500. 4680 for 500 miles. Make both on separate lines at the same time. Iron phosphate is very heavy, though, so to get a very large iron phosphate pack in a vehicle the size of the Cybertruck, I don't think it would go 300 miles. It would probably, like the Rivian is trying to get a lithium iron phosphate pack in their truck, and that's only going to get to 260 miles. So the Cybertruck is bigger than the Rivian. It's a bit more aerodynamic, but I don't know if LFP makes much sense. You need really energy-dense cells on things like trucks, because they're so big. How hot does that Tesla get, Drew? What's the maximum? I'm asking because I'm in the Northeast. As hot as you want. It's got a heat pump. My seat is heated right now, so I'm nice and warm. But I have the air conditioning off for the audio reasons. Other manufacturers should at least offer NACS as an option. Most of them are too stubborn to change, but hopefully they come to realize what is better. Yeah, I agree. I think everyone I've asked has all came to the same conclusion that for the betterment of EV adoption, there should be one port. At least in your continent, right? Like North America can have a port, Asia can have a port. The ship has sailed on the concept of us having a global charging standard. We don't even have that with houses. Like we have certain standard in the US, and in Europe they have different charge plugs. But at least in your country, you should have one singular charge port for all charge stations and all EVs. And I just think it's a very simple question. Do you want to make the transition to the one charge port easier for the companies or easier for the consumers? If you want it to be easier for the companies, then you're in favor of Tesla switching to CCS, because then it's just one company that has to change things. All the other EV companies can keep using CCS. So you're prioritizing it be easier for the brand, for the big corporations, or you're in favor of it being easier on the EV owner, because most EV owners in North America use NACS, and NACS is clearly a superior port. It's smaller, it's easier to hold, it supports higher speeds. So do you want to prioritize the people or the companies? That's what the debate is. And I'm in favor of prioritizing the people, because they're not the ones making a profit, or they're not the ones that are, they're just people that they don't want to fuss around with adapters and all these different charging networks. They just want it to work. And I think that the best thing we could do for EV adoption, to make it easier for the large amount of people that are going to be switching to electric, it's already going to be weird and different for them. So I think making that transition as seamless and as simple as possible is the best thing for EVs. So that means making it harder on the companies. Yeah, that means Ford, Rivian, Lucid, VW. Everybody's got to switch to NACS, which is going to be a bit of a headache, sure. But do you want the headache to be on the companies, or do you want it to be on the people? Yeah, Aptera has confirmed the adoption of NACS, but they've also admitted that they are funding dependent. So I want Aptera to succeed, and I'm very grateful they chose NACS, and that's part of the reason I reserved an Aptera, is because they're just so logical. They're making all the right decisions, and they're doing everything basically I would do if I was running an EV startup. I basically would do what Aptera is doing, and that's all fine and dandy, but they're limited by funding. So until they get a certain number of investments from big investors, they can't bring that vehicle to market. So that's why I hesitate to say confirmed the adoption. It proves that they want to adopt it, but if they can't bring it to market, it doesn't really make a difference. Let's see. I have a hate for the stock market. It incentivizes the wrong attitude about who a company is making products for. Well, there's lots of pros and cons to the stock market, but honestly, a lot of the products and services you're using are likely only possible because of public offerings. Charin, composed of a bunch of manufacturers, just came in today saying that CCS is the standard and that they'll never adopt NACS. But Charin isn't the one making cars. I know what Charin said, but it was very deceitful, and it didn't. They claimed that CCS is the same in Europe. They were inflating numbers falsely. So they said, see, Europe and the US combined have more CCS charging locations, but they failed to mention that CCS in Europe is not the same connector as CCS in North America. So there's not really any advantages to saying that, oh, see, CCS is more common. It's like, well, the name maybe, but that doesn't mean the cable or the port isn't the same. We don't need that crappy charging standard, CCS. Yeah, that's Alpha's right. That's what it stands for. Make it easy on the people. CCF is an awful connection. I've seen a lot of issues with the CCS connector as a whole. Like, there's fundamental differences too. Like, CCS and J1772 connectors, you can disconnect them without unlocking the car. The unlock mechanism on CCS can be accessed by anyone. You can just walk up to anybody charging their CCS vehicle and unplug it, unless they buy like a third-party part that locks it. There's these like extra accessories you can buy to lock it so that they can't disconnect it. Tesla embedded the lock within the charger, so you can't just walk up to a Tesla that's supercharging and unplug it, because if the car is locked, then the charge port is locked. You have to unlock the car to detach the connector. So that's like a security/safety feature that Tesla baked in that CCS didn't think of. And because of the data connection port placement on CCS, it's more prone to wearing out. And from what I've seen people describe, that's part of the reason Electrify America is so unreliable, is because of the way CCS was designed. It doesn't age very well because of how large and clunky it is. It makes it harder to align properly. That wears out more of the components faster, and the data ports don't mesh perfectly with every vehicle because of the way they laid it out. Let's see. Took delivery of a long-range Model Y in California on October 29th. Asked the rep if it had the front rear one-piece front and rear castings. He did not know any way to look this up. I don't think there is, really. Honestly, I wouldn't worry about it, but if it's from Fremont, it's probably not having the single-piece front casting, but it definitely has the rear casting, that's for sure. One-piece rear casting. Neem, thank you for the super chat. How will NACS work? Tesla Supercharger has no screen on how our Ford, Volkswagen, and Chevy owners going to pay without a credit card option or screen. They have a screen. It's in their pocket. You connect to it by your phone, and that's honestly how it works already for Ford and Volkswagen and Chevy owners. They plug in, and you usually activate it via app, which I don't necessarily think is a great idea, but it's not impossible. You just plug into the charging station, and then you tell the app which location you're at. But that's how it works now for the CCS EVs already. Exactly. Europe and North America don't have the same standard. It's not like people are traveling with their cars between continents. Yeah, exactly. Not usually. There's a few rare instances, but for the most part, you're not driving cars from the United States to Europe. That's not really a thing. And if you do, there's all kinds of problems with that. I mean, we already have a lot of places in Europe that are right-hand drive vehicles. You can't just bring a right-hand drive vehicle to the U.S. Now the vehicle's all lopsided for the U.S. road system. There's all kinds of problems, not just charging ports. CCS2 and J1772 aren't Karen-proof, which sucks. That's right. They're not Karen-proof. You can just unplug them. Let's see. Austin Model Y long range delivered in California asked he did not know. Oh, you're asking me again. No, I don't know how to look it up. But if... Oh, you said it's an Austin Model Y. Oh, okay. Earlier you said you didn't say where it was built. If it was made from Austin, it's probably got the single-piece front castings. Yeah. I've noticed a lot of handles strangely unavailable on way too many EA stalls. Oh, yeah, it's been a horrible experience. Watch Ryan Shaw's latest video on road tripping with his Rivian. It was terrible. Are superchargers capable of offering plug and charge / auto charge similar to EVgo does? That would be perfect. Well, they do with Teslas. Whether or not they offer it to third-party EVs is probably up to the manufacturers. There's a code standard, I forget what it's called, but there's a certain communication standard that EVgo is using to do plug and charge. But ultimately, even if they don't, I don't think it's the end of the world, because Electrify America can't even get the charge port. Even if you have everything set up, you can plug in and it still fails. So I still think even if you don't get plug and charge on superchargers, it's still the better option. For countries where it's open, I know not currently, but I wonder if it's possible. I'm pretty sure it's possible. There's data pins in there. You could have the superchargers connect to the MAC address of the vehicle or the VIN of the vehicle and attach that to a credit card. But the important thing to remember is that most charging is not going to be done at charge stations. So don't think of level 3 charge stations as something that you have to go to as often as you go to a gas station. At least for the vast majority of EV owners, it's going to make way too much financial sense to charge from home or at work at a slower charger, because that's going to be cheaper, it's going to be more convenient and better for your battery health than going to a level 3 charger all the time. So yeah, I don't think, even if the level 3 charge stations are a little bit more confusing with adapters and stuff, it's not, in my opinion, going to prevent the whole EV transition, because most charging will be done with the same cable every single time. I haven't supercharged in the last month. I just basically, all of the power this car has gotten in the last 30 days has come from the same exact connector, the same cable that I have here. But boy, this was fun, guys. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for tuning in. I think it's dinner time for me, but I was disappointed by the lack of details when it came to autopilot, pricing, the charge connector, but I was surprised and I was very happy to hear about the 1000 volt architecture, that coming to the Cybertruck, the V4 charging cable size, all that stuff. Let's see. I'm all for being techie and whatnot, but I don't like the idea of requiring an app to use public chargers. Imagine needing an app to get... No, I agree. They should just have card readers. That would be better. But plug and charge is obviously even better if you don't have to do anything. That's why I think Tesla was smart to build their own supercharging network. You literally just plug in and it works. That's probably why so many people buy Teslas. George,
yes.
1 cent. Oh, thank you for the super chat, Tech Controls. And thank you for watching the event with me, guys. I had a lot of fun. That was generous of you. Level 3 is supposed to be for long distance trips or if you're in a pinch. Exactly. Thank you, Alpha. You fast charge when you're road tripping, and most people don't road trip every day. Porsche used to have pickup in Germany program. You get a car, Stuttgart, drive it on the Autobahn, twisties, and then get it shipped to US. I guess it is no more with electric. Yeah, I mean, that's, everyone failed on that one. CCS failed, Tesla failed. Yeah, that's just not happening. But thank you all for tuning in. I had a lot of fun. I hope you guys did too. And happy Tesla semi deliveries. They're out. They're official. Keep a sharp eye out for them. Try to find some. Take care all. Bye-bye.